Well, hello, everybody out there in some form of streamer land. Welcome back to another episode, a new episode, long time coming episode of Let's Set the Tone. It's been kind of a minute here since I've actually had somebody in the studio to be able to have a conversation and run through the hot seat. You nervous?
Oh, a little bit.
It's funny.
You've been hyping me up for like 10 minutes now. So like,
I know, right? I know. Well, I'm going to first start off with this. If anybody's out there and can let me know, it's been a minute since I've used OBS and streaming. If you think the audio sounds pretty good, please let me know. I know sometimes it's a little quiet. I've been really trying to work on some stuff behind the scenes. Hopefully we've got some of that fixed. We'll see. It's audio around here is definitely my Achilles. It is a bit low. I had a feeling. So I'm going to try and turn up a little bit of the master here and let me know, how does that sound? Do I sound tinny yet? Do I sound robotic-y? Something with my audio mixer is kind of gating it when it shouldn't be. It seems like a little low, but hey, we're going to work through it either way. But Blanco also always says it sounds low, so I got to be careful listening to him. So about the same. Awesome. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Thank you. I appreciate that. Audio sounds good from Julia. Small bit of camera lag too. Well, I'm not surprised. How bad is that? Now, it has been a minute since I've had anybody down here, so I knew there might be some hiccups. And honestly, I have not had the chance to test anything out, and I planned on it this week, but the last few weeks have been a little bit crazy. So before I kind of jump into that, I do at least want to acknowledge who's sitting here with me. This is Jeff, everybody. Say hello to Jeff.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Jeff is a member of 7Dungeons. And let me ask this. I usually do this. Do you have any AKAs? Because Justinian is definitely an AKA because that's what you are for 7Dungeons. But do you have other actual AKAs?
Absolutely. So ever since PlayStation 2 went live,
Ooh.
I have been Jehovah Witness.
That's right, Jehovah Witness. I should have known better. That is definitely ones. Any other ones you get called by your full? No, that's it.
Just
pretty
Jeff
much.
and then Jehovah Witness,
Okay.
and then for some reason the 7D guys love to call me by my character name, and I keep trying to kill them off, and they keep bringing him fucking back. So I don't know what to do.
That's funny. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit too. Yeah, the Jehovah Witness is really good. I can't believe I forgot about that. You know, and it seems like when it comes to like handles like that, like, because I call Drastin, I think that's his actual legal name now. I don't know, a lot of people, even like the dude 7-9 or Fanboytone, like a lot of us, I think when we get around each other, that ends up what happens is like your actual legal names just kind of go away. I mean, Blanco, I know his real name, but I don't think I ever call him anything but Blanco, you know, so but either way, no, it's good to have you here. I know we've talked about this for a while. And it just kind of happened to work out because, Superman came out last night.
Sure did.
We got to go see that, which was really great. So you and Erica with a K come up and hanging out with us for a couple days, which is pretty awesome. So we were like now able to sit down and have a conversation. So, which is awesome. So we've been playing tummy sticks for the last 24 hours or whatever. So it's been a pretty good time. So
I'm a little tender. I'm not gonna lie.
I know. It's a little tender. Got to get a little of that little sauce. So. Yeah, I know, right? Stone Cold Steve Austin. You just got called Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You know, I've actually heard that I am what happens if Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kurt Angle have a butt baby. That's what I've been told.
Famine, what do you think? There you go. Kurt and Stone Cold. A butt baby. That's a new one.
It's true. It's damn true.
That's good. Thank you. Appreciate that. He's a gem. You ever see the clip of him sitting there and because he's always doing bits and he's eating the spaghetti and he cuts it and his wife yells at him and he's like, he just kind of looks at her like this. He's like, I can do whatever I want to do. I mean, I wrestled in the Olympics with a broken freaking neck.
And she's like, hey, Kurt, you've been playing that now for 20 some odd years. It's over. And it's like, damn. Dude,
No, he is a gem. I think when they leaned into him going for the comedy, he is one of the best timing. He is one of the best all around. Like he's in, I'm sure he's in a lot of people's Rushmores. That's always a tough question, as you know, with me. Because sometimes I'm like, man, I really should have Kurt higher on my list that I don't think about and I forget about him. And yeah, he's amazing. So if you can't tell, another pro wrestling fan in my life. So he is very funny, very, very funny. So now we first met you came up with a mutual friend of ours.
Yes.
Gosh, was it 2 or 3 years ago now?
3 years ago.
Has it
now.
been 3 years
yeah,
now?
because we did 2 Midlands, one
Okay.
with me just showing up and being a guest, then me as a member of 7D,
That's right.
and then last year there was no Midland
Yeah,
for us. So.
yeah. Hence why we were able to pivot and go to set up something with Koi's, which was a good time too. And you know, everybody did a great job with that. So, and it's funny because like I think that first time you came up, that might have been our second time doing that.
Yes.
And it's always a whirlwind when we did the Midland Comic Con, because leading up to it, like just a lot of anxiety, a lot of this. Are you nervous?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Just a bit. So I remember meeting you,
Right.
but I was tunnel visioned at this point or whatever, you know. I mean, it was just so busy, things going on. So, but and I feel like it really wasn't even that. We didn't even get a chance to like converse or hang out that first time.
No,
No,
not at all. Like
no.
I spent maybe 5 minutes at the booth with
Yeah.
you and dude, but
Yeah.
then like, you know, I'm busy just like you're busy, but like I started chatting with you guys when you were doing the Wednesday night streams.
Yeah.
Started
Yeah.
chatting with the 7D guys during the Monday night streams, and
Yeah.
just became a member of the community as much as I could.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
I
at
mean,
the time.
your work keeps you busy too, especially
yeah.
with travel and everything too. And yeah, that is a good point. When we were able to do more consistent B&Bs on Wednesday nights, you know, you were able to, you know, tune in when you can to kind of add your 2 cents onto stuff or whatever, and, you know, deal with a couple knuckleheads and their subjective opinions. So, but yeah, no, I always appreciate that. But the last time you came up, the second time I should say, was when you were at that point, and we'll talk about that in a few, with 7Dungeons, and we got to go to Timbers, and we had the whole back area. And we realized within 10 minutes that we have a lot in common.
A lot.
And like clearly a lot of the people that I keep in my circles, like we're all like hyper nerds in some sense, but
yeah, absolutely.
there's a lot of interesting things with you as well that not everybody either gets, because I feel like everybody that you got in your life has like, you know, a big checklist of things that you have similar, and you and I have a lot of similar, like same kind of movies. I mean, like, we've been making jokes the last 24 hours that literally only you and I get, are very obscure, like movie references that not always everybody gets, but you'll get or I'll get or something like that, which is always fun. So, but we hit it off right away because you were also a toy guy, you know, so it was just like instantly, like, I remember that first night, of course, I was getting a little hammered that Saturday night too. And we were just like, blah, 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 and I was like, God damn, like after talking all day, streaming, and then sitting there and doing all that, that was definitely fun, but it was also exhausting to do.
Right.
But then that's when I realized, I'm like, man, he's definitely like kind of part of the crew there at that point. So, but anyways, so how was it that you ended up this way? Like, I know our friend Cherry, you know, who brought you up, did she just say, hey, I'm going up north to this Comic-Con, what's up? Like, how did that kind of play out?
She was like, and I've got, you know, like, I know you're into Dungeons and Dragons really hard, and I know that, like, you know, I'm friends with 7Dungeons, and I'll introduce you Banner and Babel, and I'll introduce you to some people that basically have been put on the Voldemort list since then, and
it's always that,
right? Always that.
It always happens.
And that's one of the weird things about like the nerd communities is like you're always having to bring new people in, and new people are always having to leave either of their own accord or the community's decision. But yeah, she was just like, oh, come check out Midland with me, and I was like, hell yeah, I'll go see a Comic-Con, you know, like, because Ohio, like, Ohio Comic-Cons suck ever since PowerCon left. So
really,
like, yeah, oh my god, PowerCon, we had it for 2 years and then it was gone. So like,
so I thought now at this point, one of the big ones, correct me if I'm wrong, is like Toy-Hio or something like that.
Yeah, Toy-Hio, yeah, and they get a lot of the AEW wrestlers
they get a lot
there.
I know Dan Ethan Page has been there, a lot of the other guys,
like
Brody King,
Brody King,
yeah. Where's that at?
I don't know. Like, I have not hit that one yet because like
maybe?
there's something about like Ohio conventions that I don't quite understand. It's like a feeding frenzy. It's like sharks, you know what I mean? And so like you've got your wrestling stable over here and you've got your comic stable over here, and like trying to navigate those as somebody that is just a fan of nerd culture in general, like it can be tough to navigate some of those.
That's true.
And I mean, we were talking about it last night. Big personalities. Everybody's got a big personality, including me. But like, some people can't put them in check.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I enjoy cons. Cons are great, but it can be overwhelming. And after being in one for like 2 or 3 years and not going to the big one in Michigan, which is about an hour and a half south of us, and I used to love it, but Jesus, even almost 10 years ago, I was like, this venue's too small. Like,
right.
So like you go there and it's like you're waiting in line to get in forever, and you get in there and it's like so wall to wall. And maybe it's different now. It's been a couple years since I've been, but it's just like it's hard to want to go there just because there's just, I don't know, maybe it's because I don't like leaving my house. Maybe that's what it's getting to be.
Well, another thing is convention exclusives. Like the last time I came up, it was to bring you that shield figure that you'd won off the 7Dungeons giveaway. Thank you, Harbinger Studios and Savage Crucible for that.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a good hookup. But that was supposed to be a convention exclusive figure. Well, if you can't leave your house to go to a convention, or there's no convention in your way, like, I mean, you go stay in line for 6 hours. You spend $100 just to get into the convention. Then you spend another 3 hours hoping that it doesn't run out by the time you get to the line, just to get that little piece of plastic heaven that we've loved since we were 3 years old, you know? And now here I am, fucking almost 43, and I'm still like, oh, I need that special moment with my magic lizard man. You know?
Right. I think also the bathroom issue at a lot of the cons is also something that I have a baby bladder, so they're a mess within the first hour.
They're awful.
Yeah, and I'm a bitch about it. Like I hate messy bathrooms. So like it's just, I don't know. I sound like an old man that doesn't want to leave his fucking basement. That's what I sound like.
I mean, the food situation at cons isn't as great as it used to be either. Yeah. Like, I mean, they're like, oh, here's your pre-made Subway sub if you're lucky.
It used to be great. I used to go to Gen Con in Indianapolis, and like, the con food was real mid, and a lot of people would just eat it because they were in there all the time. But like, they had a culture of food trucks there, so it was like, so you go out there and do something like that. But not all cons have those sort of setups. So yeah, I feel like the food is definitely a good topic to dissect someday at a con. I think for sure.
Now Origins is held in Columbus, and Origins is still really
that's
good.
A good one.
Oh yeah, I love Origins, but I love games. Obviously, you know, whether they be board games, RPGs. I used to be really, really good and really, really into the Hero Click scene back in the day. Oh shit! Okay. So I went to Origins, and I actually did pretty well one year. Damn. Got third place. It was good.
That's
good
cool.
Time,
That's cool. Is that more of a game convention then?
It's exclusively almost a game convention.
Right
but
on. Cool.
Good times.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I do want to say, Famine does say it's cool seeing you two as this progressive couple. Thank you.
Thank you.
We share the same haircut too, so as you see, but my glare I think is worse than your glare. You see, your glare isn't that bad.
It's because I got so much sun this last weekend. Yeah.
That maybe, yeah. That's feel like that's my life as well too. But Bjorn, good to see you as well. Appreciate everybody being able to pop in. So, well, that being said, so I think it's time to kind of dive into some of you.
Okay.
So first question I got for you, and I think I actually had this revealed this week, and maybe we've talked about it before.
Okay.
But where did you originally come from? Where did you originally grow up, or I guess most of your childhood?
Okay, yeah. So I was born and raised in this small town called Dubuque, Iowa.
Okay, thought so.
And it's like the pimple on the nose of the face of Iowa for anybody that's ever looked at a map.
Right.
But I was out there until I was like 12 or 13, and then my mom moved out here because of job opportunities, and I met my daughter's mother while I was out here, and then when I got
here is Ohio,
here is
deeper in the Midwest,
Marysville,
where the hell's that?
Marysville, Ohio, like. It's close to Columbus. It's about 25 minutes away. But I graduated from Marysville, joined the Army, and then after I got out of the Army, moved back here to be close to my daughter. So
right on.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, you're saying here is in your current city?
Yeah, Ohio. Yeah.
Okay.
Lima is where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lima Bean, is that what it was named after?
Yes, Lima Bean.
Lima Bean. It's the Lima Bean capital of the Midwest in Lima, Ohio. Awesome. So, now, when your mom, you said your mom moved here for work and things of that nature. So you moved as a teenager. Like, what was that experience like? I didn't have to deal with that. Like switching schools as a teen, was that tough?
So it was really weird for me because, like, you know, that 12 to 13 age is where we are supposed to like be like, oh no, toys and comics and cartoons are weird and
No.
we want girls now, you know, and
Can't both.
and right, and that's the thing is, so like moving to Ohio from Iowa, like as all my friends were transitioning out of that stuff, Ohio's a little bit more progressive than Iowa is. So there was nerd culture out here, and in Iowa, there's no nerd culture. So I was the weird kid because I wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons, and I still wanted to buy action figures off the shelf. But here in Ohio, like I was a nerdy kid, not the nerdy kid.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
So that was nice. It was a good experience to actually have like a community start right in those awkward teenage years. So that was good for me.
Yeah. And in that time frame, so I know you're a couple years younger than me, so I didn't transition out of like that sort of stuff really ever. I mean, there was a lull, I think, but I mean, when you had like characters like Angela and Rogue and who else, Vampirella.
Oh, Vampirella.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely. And not only that, but I mean, like,
you get best both worlds.
Right. But at the time, like, McFarlane was really coming on the scene with like going in and grabbing other IPs. So like I was a huge Conan fan, and all of a sudden he's releasing all these Conan figures, and you know, they're statues, basically like glorified statues that you can just swap the weapons on. And so like all of that culture, and then I really got into horror when I moved to Ohio too.
Okay.
So like it was a good transition, because it's like, okay, you know, Power Rangers is kind of out, but like, oh, here's the Blair Witch Project, here's all the summer slasher films like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
And so like
That
I was no shortage of
new age of that,
of new interest when I moved.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Famine says, I don't know, man. I like girls, but I still like toys and nerd stuff. Sounds like a skill issue for some people. Exactly, right? I mean, honestly, like, so similar, I think, in that sense, like growing up in my school, and I know we've kind of talked about it, you know, with Dungeons and Dragons with Drass in the past, but like, I came from a real small school, and you know, you either fit into a group or you didn't, and I was kind of different. I felt I kind of floated through all the tribes, right? But I always wore my nerddom on a sleeve, and like I think if it had been a bigger school, it might have been more of a problem in a certain sense, because you know, kids back then were, you know, everybody's shitty. There's always bullies, right? I didn't really deal with a lot of that, but you know, I guess when you're kind of like a mix of the class clown, but also like I'm super fucking nerdy, like you got left alone. So I didn't have to experience really too deep of all that, but there was definitely only a small scale of us that was playing D&D, Magic the Gathering, talking comics, playing video games and things in that nature. So
but then professional wrestling was also really hot then too. So like,
and that was something that like I watched as like a kid, and then like about the time of probably maybe 14, 15-ish, I think actually it was what got me kind of back into some of that, really, as I think about it, was actually ECW, which I know for you also hits home too a little bit. So, and then of course, then not long after, Nitro started taking off, and then that's when the Monday Night Wars kicked off, and when the Monday Night Wars started like full throttle, I was like 17 or 18, so I was just a couple years older than you, but every Monday night.
The reason why I brought it up was because nobody seemed to pick on the kid that was wearing the DX Suck It t-shirt to school, other than the teachers who were then suspending them or sending them home with their t-shirt turned inside out. Like nobody wanted to mess with that nerdy kid that like had no problem like kicking you in the stomach and trying to give you a pedigree in the middle of the hallway.
Still one of the all-time greatest moves too. Bjorn, you're a wrestling fan? That's good. I didn't know that. I know we don't talk a ton of wrestling too often in some of the communities. Zilla's also a fan too. Zilla will be here tomorrow actually. And you're finally going to get to meet Zilla.
I'm excited to meet Zilla.
I know you are. I know. Yeah, we're gonna watch some wrestling tomorrow. But so anyway, so you kind of also described, I guess, what you were like as a kid as far as your nerddoms. But you know, what else made Jeff the kid? Like, was there, you know, specific things you were into? Like any different, you know, I guess I know we kind of know some of your nerddoms, but you know, what were you like as a kid? I know some people were.
I was actually super religious as a kid, hence Jehovah's Witness. Like I had the WWJD bracelet. I was gonna go to college to be a youth minister.
You did come from Iowa. That kind of lines up.
Absolutely. Like, you know, I heard all the news about DC Talk's lead singer lately, and like all the stuff coming out about that.
That's
and
not a name I've heard in a long time, by the way.
Like I was crushed. I was like, okay, like it's one thing for me to walk away from religion, you know, for my own reasons. It's another thing to use religion to go against your own religion. So like it was a sad moment for me because like I said, you know, for me, like spirituality is everything. So,
Sure. Even now still?
oh yeah, absolutely. It's
Okay.
just it's evolved, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And that's because like one of the great things about being spiritual versus being religious is you realize that all of us are hypocrites and all of us get it wrong. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Sure.
And one of the greatest things about being a spiritualist is knowing like, hey, if I want the world to forgive me for like doing wrong by the world, I need to be willing to give that same forgiveness. And then not granting forgiveness to people that go out of their way to hurt other people. Because it's one thing for me to, you know, have struggles with the alcohol or have struggles with, you know, being like an honest or truthful person, but it's another thing for me to actively go out, hurt somebody else, and then be like, oh, but you should forgive me because your religion tells me to, you know?
Right. Do a bunch of Hail Marys or something like that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so that's a big part of like what formed my initial personality was like,
wow. I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's really interesting because like when you dive into that and then you think about like how I play characters when I play D&D,
Mhm.
almost none of them are religious. Even if they are clerics or paladins, they're not pious, and that's because I can't deal with pious.
Man, you know, it's funny too, when you said Iowa initially and you said that before too, I know even just now originally that kind of clicked. So when you said that, like that's why I reacted to that too. Cause I initially instinctively think when people are from Iowa, 90% of the people are, you know, Bible Belt. I think,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that whole thing. So, okay. That's crazy. And so like for your perspective, even being as a spiritualist, like, you know, I personally don't know a lot about that, but I definitely kind of dig that mantra for sure. Yeah, 20 Hail Marys and 15 Our Fathers, come see me in the morning. Famine, right. Bjorn, dang, at least the last 15 years checking out wrestling. We will have to chat. Hey, Outer Multiverse, a lot of people showing up tonight. Appreciate you all for popping in and saying hi as I talk to my buddy Jeff here. It's good to see you all. Bear with us as we're probably working through some video and audio things. Like I said, I don't know. I've been using the EV Mux lately, the remote thing. So now trying to do something in studio, I'm sure, is making it a little bit difficult. But the great man once said, "Do things and good things happen to you." There you go, Blanco. Perfect. So growing up, what was like your biggest nerddoms? Like, can you name like one or two, maybe even three? Like,
so Masters of the Universe.
Okay.
Was it right? And
Yeah.
then like Masters of the Universe turned into New Adventures, and then it turned into the Dolph Lundgren movie at the same time,
which I
right?
just watched a couple weeks ago, by the way.
Yeah,
I still love it.
It holds up.
I still love it.
It holds up better than some of the movies that perform better than it back in the time.
Yeah.
Like I think it holds up better than Conan the Barbarian. Like,
oh
yeah, hot take. Right. Watch the chat blow up now.
you know,
right?
my computer catches on fire.
Right. Well, no, like that's the thing is like if you go back and you watch Conan the Barbarian and you watch it from a non-nostalgia factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good Conan or a very good Cole story because it's Robert E. Howard's Cole's origin, not Conan's origin. You know, other than Valeria, like Thulsa Doom is Cole's main bad guy, not Conan's. So like, but the sword and sorcery was always really big for me, and then of course being a kid of the 80s Reagan era, G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, like that red, white, and blue, like that, and the Bible, like I had it all. I was good to go. Like I mean,
my WWJD and G.I. Joe.
Yeah. And so the only things that were ever hard for me to reconcile with that, you know, with that God country thing and my nerddoms were like morality versus law, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's the only things that I ever struggled with in my nerddoms. But you know, sword and sorcery really kind of took a hit after Masters of the Universe for a good long while. The 90s were not kind to sword and sorcery fans.
I don't think they were kind to really any fantasy in that medieval sense. I feel like things like and Star Wars was always going to be what it was, but I honestly think sci-fi was the big one for the 90s, right? Because when you look at, you know, you're running through still with the underrated and doesn't deserve the hate Alien 3. But you're also
starting there.
So fucking we are. Star Trek Next Generation and the Deep Space Nine and different things like that. And then you had like Babylon 5s. You had all the crazy shit. Sequest.
And then on top of that, you had all of the Asian inspired stuff. So you had Ninja Turtles, you had Super
Power
Sentai
Ranger, Super
turning
Sentai.
into Power
Appreciate
Rangers.
you respecting the Super Sentai.
Absolutely. Like, I'll tell you what. Have you ever watched like some of those Super Sentais from what we watched in the first couple seasons of Power Rangers? Like going back and watching it, I'm like, God damn, the Super Sentai. Even though I can't understand a word, and I'm having to read translations, English translations on the screen. It makes a lot more sense. Like, I don't know how they got the younger kids, because I could laugh at it being a teenager, right? I don't know how they got the younger kids to buy into like the Tommy evil turn and shit, because that compared to what we saw in Super Sentai with the child that, you know, oh, spoilers, I'm sorry, like 30-year-old spoilers,
brother
there.
Shit, and all that stuff.
But I mean, like sci-fi and then like the Asian influence into the culture in the 90s, because like
anime
Highlander, the first couple of Highlander movies were very, very like medieval inspired, other than the fact that the main character Connor had a katana. But like once you get to Duncan MacLeod, like all of the medieval shit goes away, and it's very sci-fi, and it's very, very, instead of medieval fantasy, and it's very, very like Asian inspired. So yeah, it was kind of a hard loss being a medieval fantasy fan in the 90s, but luckily, like I said earlier, I had horror. So
that's true. And would you say so? Just like so, you had horror that kind of came out. You had that new wave. We were just talking about The Faculty recently. You said, you know, Scream's come around again. I know he did last summer's about to come around again, which I'm never was really huge on, but I'm a big Freddie Prinze Jr. and I also love Jennifer Love Hewitt. She was like my crush growing up. Yeah. So to see some of these people get back involved in like, because I always thought Freddie Prinze was like, he hung up pretty much everything. He's just voice acting and writing for wrestling or whatever the fuck he was doing. So it's cool to see him back as well too. R.A. Salvatore, hey, Outer, I don't know if you've been around too often, but there is a complete shrine back here to R.A. Salvatore. Maybe you have, I can't recall. I think you have actually, but yeah, this is all shrine to Dritz and the crew there. So but I do you think that for medieval fantasy, do you think Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings helped kind of like breathe fresh air to all of that?
Like revitalized it,
right.
Like, and it was so interesting being like a fan in my late teens, early 20s in the time, and being an adult, because by that time I was in the army. Like I was 18 in the army, like going to, you know, Iraq and stuff. So like watching that roll out and watching Toy Biz throw out all those amazing superposable action figures. And I
wish I'd have kept mine. I just gave them away a couple years back to a friend.
And then Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 hit like really solid and hot. And then 4th edition
very
came
hot
out
for people at that point when 3.5 dropped. I mean,
it was like, oh my God, like finally somebody can appreciate like that genre again, because I mean, even some of people's favorite elements from Star Wars are medieval fantasy elements, you know, the druidicism of both the Sith and the Jedi. And,
well, look at Kylo Ren's, look at like a big old fucking claymore kind of sword right now. Yeah, too.
Well, I'm a fan of Kylo Ren's lightsaber. I know a lot of people hate it.
I think it's awesome.
Like, and the fact that I feel like I kind of understand what's going on with it, because I don't read any of the fan stuff on any of my fan stuff anymore. Like I don't read any of the critic stuff. I like to try to form my own opinions, but like my idea is like 14-year-old Kylo Ren's only been around while people are building lightsabers. He's never built his own, and so the reason why it pulses and it kind of sizzles and all that is because he's never done it before and nobody instructed him how. Like he had to run away from Uncle Luke and like build something so that he could you know, defend himself. So. Well,
as big a Star Wars fans as I am, and a couple people I know out here in the chat, there is the true archivist that I know now of Star Wars, which is Famine Studios out here. I'm sure you can probably break that down for you. And there is some actually interesting story with all that whole stuff, but I like that you kind of keep that closer, because as we talked about and have been talking about, like when you dive too deep into people and their opinions and the fandoms and stuff like that, it's something we talk about a lot, which is a lot of toxic bullshit. So, but
well, not only that, but who am I to tell you? You know, and it's not because you're a bigger Godzilla fan than me, because you know, like the that's another thing. It's like a measuring contest of who's the bigger fan by what they know. But like, who am I to tell you that, you know,
don't say
we got 2 Godzilla movies last year, and you and I talked at length about both of them. But like I happen to enjoy the older like Japanese style one, the World War II one better. But like, who am I to tell you if you preferred the Kong versus Godzilla movie that you're wrong? You know what I mean? Because like when we get into these IPs and we take ownership of them as fans, we also have to remember that other people are taking that same ownership of them. So it's
a hard pill to swallow,
right? What you get out of Godzilla and what he means to you is going to be different than what it means to me. But the thing is that we're both Godzilla fans, you know? And so we're both Skywalker saga fans, but like we might disagree on who the best Skywalker is.
Right.
You know?
But we can all agree that 98 Godzilla is trash. So it's fucking trash. That shit out of here.
Matthew Broderick.
He's a murderer. Anyway, so as far as comic books growing up, like, were there specific ones that you gravitated towards? Like, for me, it was a lot of Spawn, a lot of like X-Men, and Spider-Man. Okay. Those are probably my three biggest off the top of my head. Yeah. Like, what was like a lot of the comics you were into when you got into them?
So, like, when I was younger, my dad really enforced reading. Like, he was like, you know, because people can lie to you, but once it's in print, it's there forever. And it's great because my dad passed away like back in 2012, and like he really didn't get to see what social media would become. And now it's like you can't lie on the internet.
Right.
You cannot lie on the internet, because if you do, it's there forever. And that was one of the things he was like, people can't lie in print because it's there forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so he taught me how to read. And so long story, getting back to your point, a lot of the dollar store books at the time were Conan's. They were,
I do recall that.
A lot of the like 70s horror, the 70s mystic stuff from DC, and then G.I. Joe, Real American Hero. I've always maintained that Larry Hama was not given the credit that he deserved for writing that book the way he did, because you know, you watch the cartoons in the 80s and, you know, Snake Eyes, good guy, Storm Shadow, bad guy. But like that story is so deep and so rich. And the fact that Storm Shadow is actually like a way more honorable person than even Snake. It's 42 years old, dude. I said the F word.
Whoa. You don't fucking limit your swears around here. What the fuck?
My bad.
That offends me.
Yeah. So, I mean, I am such a big Storm Shadow fan that he is one of my nerdy tattoos that I have on my body. I have a Storm Shadow tattoo because any dude that's willing to throw down and do bad shit in the name of the greater good,
right?
It's like Punisher. You know what I mean? Like everybody wants to be altruistic. They all want to be Captain America. They all want to be that paladin, right? And Punisher gets a lot of love from groups that he probably shouldn't, but like
I love that they recognize that too.
Like Aragorn, Strider, you know what I mean? Like he's not altruistic. Like he literally abandons being king because he doesn't feel worthy of it.
Right.
But he's still going to save everyone because he can.
Yeah.
And he has to accept his fate and that kind of paladin-y king godliness in order to save the world. He doesn't want to be the shining beacon of hope, and that's what makes him an even better shining beacon of hope, is the fact that he doesn't want that.
He's not trying to be that. You know, as a big Punisher fan, one of my favorite things about Punisher that ever happened that meant a lot to me as a young kid being a fan of Punisher, because it really is a different kind of character for a kid to be into. But, you know, Skulls, you know, I know that's so, like, cliche, but like a lot of things for the Punisher, and also the Dolph Lundgren movie was something I saw as a kid, and I was like,
throwing daggers with the little Punisher skull on the end of them.
Yeah,
as a 5-year-old, who does not want to be that guy on a motorcycle?
But when after Civil War and everything happened, and then Cap was killed, who was it that gave the fuck, what is it, the mantle or whatever back to Bucky, because they didn't know where it was at?
Right. Yeah.
It was fucking Punisher.
Right.
Because Punisher had so much respect for Captain America, which was a fucking like, because he's like, I'm not Captain America, but I have a lot of respect more or less for Captain America because what he did, who he was. That's not something that Punisher could ever do.
Yeah.
And I always thought, I'm like, man, because I loved Cap.
And he refused to kill Flag Smasher in honor of Cap, because like that was the next villain he fought after Cap died, was Flag Smasher. And so he shot him in the knee, and he told him, like, you can thank Steve Rogers that you're still breathing. And I was like, that's the part of Punisher that nobody wants to remember, is that there is a morality there to him. Everybody thinks he just shoots everybody in the head, and it's not that case most of the time.
Right.
He has that morality. It's just a little bit dirtier than the rest of ours.
Yeah, the White Pride group that he went after, that is one of my favorite also, like, because he was on the border, actually. It's a great, I can't, because he dresses up as like his version of Cap. He does like a Cap Punisher mix. It's like huge fan famine, to the point where I thought I had lost some of those and had to rebuy them after one of my moves a couple years ago. And finally was like, oh, so I got doubles of them now. But because it just meant so much to me to read that out of Punisher, like give that character this crazy added level of depth. So anyways, we could talk that forever, right? But any other hobbies? So outside of like comics and things you were a fan of, like, what kind of hobbies?
Are we just talking childhood, or are we talking now into adulthood too?
Let's get to, I mean, more childhood. I'm thinking like teen you, like, I mean, like, so you draw, you color?
No, so I write short stories, or did as a kid, but literally, like, the artistic hand never really came to me. Like, it's a lot of taking what's up here and either putting it out as like a role-playing game, or putting it to paper with words so that I can share these thoughts with people on paper.
That's cool.
That way, because unfortunately I almost failed 8th grade art because I could not draw a straight line. I'm telling you, like, the teacher made fun of me one time.
Oh man,
we had the clay project, right? And I was the only kid whose clay project literally dripped into between the grills.
And the teacher didn't come up behind you like Patrick Swayze at all?
No, not at all.
It's a shame.
Which is sad, because I am just as sexy as Demi Moore. So I really should have gotten more attention in high school.
Yeah, matter of fact, your hairstyle compared to hers right now from that movie is not too far from each other. So yeah, good old Demi.
But so a lot of action figure collecting. I was very into video games until I got into my late teens and I joined the military, and that's when video games kind of fell off.
It's weird because a lot of people in the military, actually, it flips for them.
Right.
Because like my buddy who served in Iraq as well too during a lot of the mid 2000s, Xbox, like they played Halo. Fucking like,
and that, I think that's what happened, is like I got burned out on it, because you go out there and it's like, okay, I'm gonna shoot in real life, then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna shoot some fake space aliens and stuff, and it just and like I found that I was getting really super sucked into them, to the point where like I was playing over and over again. Like, I own 3 video games right now. I own Skyrim.
Everybody owns fucking Skyrim. Yeah.
I own Skyrim. I own Minecraft. And I own Injustice 2, and that's it.
It's actually a pretty solid list for a 3. I mean, for just being a generic or general game player, that's actually, because Injustice games, for the record, are pretty gnarly.
Let me tell you, I will put myself against most people that play that game on the regular. Let me have Red Hood, and I will show you what life's about.
I'm trying to think Injustice 2 how I mained, but I was pissed because my character Injustice 1 was not in 2. You want to take a guess?
No, go right ahead.
Doomsday.
Doomsday. Oh God, Doomsday is a tough character for me. Really tough character for me.
Fucking
because
love Doomsday.
Like, he was so good in Death of Superman. Like, but then once that happened, they could never get him back to that level. And I'm like, if his whole thing was he was adapting to Superman in that one fight, and he was getting better and stronger and more impenetrable to like heat vision, frost breath, and all that shit, like, Superman should never be able to beat him one-on-one again.
Right.
Like, it should take Superman, Superboy, and Supergirl to launch his ass back into the sun the next time. Or it's going to take the entire Justice League. But that's one of the things that I feel like comics in the main 2 universes of Marvel and DC, they just don't really get. They'll pump a character up in their debut to be so hot that they'll never be that hot again.
Yeah, it's tough.
And my prime example of that would be Doomsday for DC. Marvel, do you know who it is?
No.
Squirrel Girl beat Doctor Doom in her debut.
In her debut. That's
like,
right. That's a good
after
one.
After that, like the only person she can beat better that's Galactus or Thanos, you know?
Jesus, that's right. I forget. I forget about that because I'm usually the guy that does that. I mean, like Doctor Doom's well, Squirrel Girl beat her.
Right, Squirrel Girl beat her.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a lot of Midwest superheroes, so we got to give her a little bit of love, though. To be fair, so okay, so that's some good stuff. What was so of course for me, I relate a lot, and you kind of already talked about it. You know, Masters of the Universe. Was that your favorite cartoon, or did you have any other couple ones? I mean,
I loved Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
I loved G.I. Joe. Mask was another really big one for me.
That goddamn, they just
all four of those
we haven't had that
releases.
Conversation.
We have
quite
not yet. Yeah.
So because last week on World Makers Consortium that came up on conversation, and my biggest gripe with that line, because I want to pull the trigger really bad,
right,
is why didn't they go to full scale 3.75? If they'd have done that, at least I would have pulled the trigger on them. But I like their little articulation, all that stuff. I want if they'd just went to 3.75.
I totally understand. And they're already
pricey as it is, as they are.
I get it. I understand that. But do you know why they didn't?
I don't know specifically why.
Okay, because I have a good guess, and some of the toy enthusiasts out there could correct me if I'm wrong, right? Okay, so like the tooling between tooling a 4-inch figure or a 6-inch figure isn't what gets you, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Like the pricing on that, according to all of the independents out there, they talk about that 4-inch to 6-inch scale. It doesn't cost them that much more, right? Where it gets you is the vehicles, because literally you've got to use multiple molds in those bigger vehicles, and that's why Hasbro, God bless their heart, likes to HasLab every freaking vehicle for everything.
See one over there on the floor right
now.
I know. I'm still mad the Ghost Rider one we didn't hit that, but they also were asking way too much for it, in my opinion.
Not only asking way too much, but when you tell me that the early bird figure is going to be Jamie Reyes as not Ghost Rider, and then you tell me that the first unlock is going to be a Mephisto that you already showed us 3 years earlier, so we know that you've been saving it back, and you're going to tell us that you're going to hide it behind what was it, $300?
I think it might have been $250, $300 something. They fumbled that fucker.
Right. And then meanwhile, you've got Ramen Toys out there. I'm going to drop a little independent stuff out there. And he's putting out the same exact car for like $200. And he's a small independent toy company.
Right.
Like, and he's done the A-Team van. And like, that's why when they're like, oh, Jabba Sales Barge, $1,200. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
well, that's got to be aftermarket, because wasn't it $500 or $600?
I don't remember what it was, because once again, Star Wars is one of my outer lying fandoms.
Fair.
The G.I. Joes, I've refused to buy every single HasLab G.I. Joe.
God damn, their HasLabs are fucking gnarly, though.
Right.
I almost got that his tank just because.
Right. And so I'm going to let everybody in on a secret. This is how everybody that knew me as a kid should have known that I was gay, right? Like that I was at least in the part of the queer community.
Yeah.
Is the Vamp with Clutch, right?
Yeah.
Clutch, his boyfriend was Breaker, the audio guy. Like they rode in the Vamp together, and they were boyfriend and boyfriend in my little fictional IP universe of G.I. Joe. And so like they dropped the Vamp not as a HasLab, and I was like, I don't have any of the vehicles, so I'm going to stay away from it.
Right.
And so even though nostalgia's sake, like I was really attached to that character, I've had to stay away from G.I. Joe, and I've had to stay away from a lot of the childhood IPs because it's just money grabs now. Yeah,
and that's, and like I said, like I think the HasLabs for G.I. Joe and they've been really successful. They're great. I think some of the Transformer ones have been shitty. The Star Wars ones have been really hit or miss for me as well too. The Ghost clearly was something that was very important to me. I debated the Sail Barge and this, that, and the other, but the G.I. Joe ones for me, even though it's not in my, if it's not Serpentor or Destro, I don't really care. Like, I wish they do like Destro's. Remember what's this fucking
the Devastator, right? You're talking about the tank that had the helicopter
and all the people. If they did that,
right,
I'd be in fucking trouble.
Oh, I bet you would.
I really would be, because I love Destro.
Right, I love Destro too. But you know what? Like, you gave me 2 Destros before you gave me a freaking like Clutch, or you gave me a Breaker. Like, right away, classified, I think I got like 22, 23 figures in the line, and I was like, okay, you gave us a repaint of the first 6 figures, like right off the rip. It just like very, very money grabby. Uh-oh.
He said they said don't ask, don't tell, save that for toys from Mattel.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's funny.
But I mean, like, well, that's another thing is like when we were talking earlier about being younger, like I couldn't admit to myself that I was queer, that I liked guys and girls. Like I couldn't admit to that to myself because like no GI Joes were. He-Man definitely wasn't. He was always after Tila. You know, it wasn't biblically okay. It wasn't, you know,
it's a lot
morally okay with the United States military. It wasn't okay in any of my friends' circles there for a while. And so, like, it's one of those things where now I don't feel a whole lot of responsibility, like, and I don't feel very gatekeepy about nerddom. But I think one of the things that we've have to do, what it is our responsibility, is like sharing our experiences as, you know, like queer people in the community.
Sure,
because
absolutely.
Like, you know, it wasn't safe like 15, 20 years ago to be a queer person out in a very like male dominated space, you know what I mean, and a very toxic male dominated space. A lot of people can't deal with you know, healthy masculinity. You know, it's a tough subject, but
it makes me think about back to pro wrestling. It makes me think about Chris Canyon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mortis and all that stuff.
He might still be alive if it would have been okay in the WWE locker room to be a queer man, you know, but only if you're Pat Patterson.
Yeah, or clearly, right. Yeah, that gets you on in front of the camera for favors, right? Right. No, I think that's a good point, and I definitely feel like we're close to there, or we're there, and I think that it's good that you feel, at least at this point, comfortable. You know, I mean, because I think most of your friends, like me included, like all about, you know, we're comfortable. You know, it's not anything that.
But I mean, like people at work, they either do know or they don't know. It's not something that I feel like I have to blast when I'm out at work, or like I'm out on the street. But like when I am in nerd spaces, I feel like it's important to be out, because like everybody wants the cutesy rainbows and the dyed hair and the piercings. They want you to be very quickly able to identify you as a member of the queer community, so they can put you in the subset of the nerd community. That's like what I was talking about. It's one of those things with the nerd community. We've got to stop doing that to ourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
We've got to stop gatekeeping, and we've got to stop being exclusive to each other.
That's a really good perspective. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. When you were growing up, so when you moved, did you have like a best friend or anything like that in Iowa?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Michael Bartolotta. Yeah, absolutely.
When you moved, did that change?
Oh yeah, of course. Because I mean, back then there was like almost no internet. It was the dial-up where it took you 5 minutes to download the picture of Pamela Anderson in her Baywatch swimsuit. So like talking to somebody that was 500 miles away on a phone that cost 25 cents per minute to talk to somebody, you know, it went away. And it's really weird, because for me, it's always been that way, right up until my army buddies. Like I can call up one of my old army buddies right now and we can catch up in 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's nice.
And then nerddom friends that I have made in my 20s are the same way. Like they live in Colorado, they live in California, they live in Texas, they live in all these different places where I was stationed, and I can catch up with them in 5 minutes on Facebook. And you know, we can call each other. I mean, I went and saw some of my best friends in Colorado. So
cool.
But yeah, all of those, it's so weird, because it's almost like it's a part of my life that I don't remember much of outside of my family.
Yeah,
like,
I can see that.
Childhood friends all that much up until I moved to Ohio.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think you bring up an interesting thought process in that for me too, because like I definitely feel like, you know, they always say it's harder to make friends later in life, and I've actually, and I know it's more of a me thing also as well too, so I understand that. I'm not saying it makes it any easier for other people, but what you said kind of resonated with me, like, because I've got a lot of friends that have served in the military, and they say a lot of the similarity things, like that. It's just a just the way you guys kind of like bonded, right? So,
Mhm.
which is always awesome. But I do feel like when you say like different nerd communities and stuff like that, I can think, and I've been doing a lot of like reflecting lately about people from my past life that I grew up with, that I lived with, or lived around, high school, whatever, right?
Right.
And you think most of those, you're not even the same person that person knew you. So even if you see
Yeah.
him, like you catch up, it's almost like you are strangers, and then like it almost gets to a point where it's awkward because like, what do you really have in common to talk about? There's a good
Right.
chance we don't have anything. But when you do find these different type of like, nerd communities or whatever it is, you bond over this thing. And then it's really interesting because like the more you meet different people in these sort of things, and it's like these are the people going forward that you have that connection to, that probably won't ever change again at that point, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's really I guess I never stopped to kind of think about that.
Now, let me ask you: are you a Warhammer 40K fan at all, or do you know much about that community? Like,
So I know, I'm very, very familiar with it.
okay,
In the sense, I know what it is because I've played a lot of tabletop games over the years. I never went down that route. I'm familiar with GameWorks. I'm familiar with even the fucking paint they use for that.
right,
I've got friends that go crazy on that. The new Joy Toy like Warhammer figures, like a lot of people in the community are going
Right.
ape shit over it. Because Joy Toy's making such great shit.
yeah.
But
Even the McFarlane ones look great too.
yeah. So outside of all that, I mean, no, I've just never really gotten to that community.
So, like for me, like it was really interesting because my mid-20s was dealing a lot with like my relationship with God versus my relationship with organized religion,
Sure.
and dealing with my wanting to serve people by being in the military versus being part of the military-industrial complex, and I got recommended when I got injured one time that I work on my skills by painting, and painting miniatures was what they recommended. Well, at the time, like D&D miniatures, like you could buy them unpainted, but like you could then turn around and buy that same mini already painted.
Mhm.
But Warhammer 40K, like you got to customize them,
Yeah.
and like so I picked up Black Templars, which is religion and military service, right? And then like I started reading through their book real quick, and I was like, oh my god, like it's talking about like burn the witch, and it's like
A
talking
lot of
about
cool
like
shit.
speaking out against the emperor was like treason, and I was like, oh my god, like this is really having it start making me introspective. And so then I was like, well, I'm gonna go with something lighter, and I'm gonna go with orcs. And then like I read about the orcs, and like the orcs in Warhammer 40K, do you know how their asteroids work?
No, I don't.
They work
I
off of
literally
belief.
don't.
They climb on a planet. They climb onto an asteroid that they've put jet engines onto, and then it's the Horde's belief that actually gives those engines lift. They're not hooked. They
That's
can
fucking
just
cool.
right, like they literally
That's fucking
are
cool.
like the most magical race I've ever seen across anything, because they like
They
even though
will
they're
rocket
not
ships,
smart,
basically.
right? Yeah, they're like yeah,
Right.
this machine is going to work because we've seen it work before, and all you have to do is hook this piece to this piece, and now it's the
Right.
same machine as it was over there. And it's amazing because you got all these like Imperial guys out there trying to fix shit, and an orc could just climb in and be like, it's supposed to run, it runs.
That's pretty fucking neat.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Did you stick with that at all for a little bit, or was that just for painting?
No, I stuck with it for probably like
play?
2 or 3 years, and then like HeroClix came around,
Okay.
and so like and I got like really into that because of the nerddom
Yeah,
associated with it.
I
Because
mean,
like
comics, everything.
Warhammer 40K is very expensive.
Yes,
It's
it is.
it's very upkeepy too,
Yes, it
because
is.
like once you drop your $80-$90 single mini onto the ground and it shatters, like you are spending all your time and resources. Like forget the fact I have a kid, forget the fact I have a wife. I've got to get this mini
Right.
fixed before Saturday's tournament, you know.
I love painting minis. I think the best thing to do is to just, and I got to get one. I borrow one or something. Everybody's got them now, but it's just to get a 3D printer and just print some minis off and just fucking paint.
Right.
I need to finish my ship over there that I need to fucking paint that I haven't finished either. But it is a good time. I love painting minis. What was it that actually, and you've kind of hinted around this too, but I did want to ask about this. What got you to decide to enlist in the Army?
So it was September 11th. Like
You mentioned that.
I wanted to be a youth minister, and I really thought that's what God was calling me to do. Like, and I've always been a big community member. So like, you know, I played a little bit of sports in high school, but I also like was into the D&D and stuff. And so like, it's so weird because for me, like the connection between you and I and the connection between Erica and I isn't that different. Like there's little tweaks to it, but like we're all part of the same community.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's what got me into it was when September 11th happened. I was already miserable, like trying to fit into this box of what a youth minister is supposed to be, and like fit into this box of what a good Christian is supposed to be. Because I already
had a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, and it's like, oh, well, I can just go get shot at. Like I can do that. Like, and I've shot a rifle before. I can do that, and I've punched people in the face before. I can do that, and like, and you think in such small terms, and like. And then you make these major life decisions, and it's brilliant on the entire world's part, and we've been doing it for centuries now. Humans' brains don't fully develop until they're 26, but yeah, we can let them sign their life away when they're 17, 18 years old. I'm getting heavy on this one. I'm sorry, guys, but yeah, like it's amazing to me because like at 18, you still wanted to be G.I. Joe.
Right.
You still wanted to be He-Man. You still wanted to be that paladin that you played at the tabletop on Saturday night with your friends. And like for something that got pushed on such a xenophobic and such a religious base when that wasn't actually the case for why that happened. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a matter of religion. It wasn't a matter of it was political differences, you know what I mean? But to push it, and like America was already pretty divided, and then September 11th happened, and all of a sudden everybody was an American, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody was listening to Toby Keith, you know, everybody was drinking Bud Light, you know, it didn't matter. Like your political affiliations didn't matter anymore. We were Americans.
Right.
And so I bought into that shit, and I went and I had a pretty successful career for 8 years, you know.
8 years even. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I decided that I wanted to be a father.
Yeah.
More. I wanted, like, you know, I was in for 8 years. I was deployed for 3.5, 4 years of that.
Did you do time Fallujah?
Yeah. We're not gonna go into where.
Right.
I went to Iraq 3 times.
Yeah. I realized that.
Years.
And I'm like, I only, and the reason why is
you're good.
Yeah.
I
I had some other friends that. Not a great place.
Right. And, you know, that Superman thing really stuck with me. But like I was talking about earlier, that 25, 26, when your brain actually fully develops, right? Like at that same time, I became a father.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, and this is going to get kind of weird and deep, and I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
But
no,
like,
that's what it's here for.
I held my kid for the first time, and all of a sudden, somebody else's life mattered to me than my own.
Yeah.
I'm very, like, community is important, and I love to serve the community, but I'm still number one.
Right.
Like, I won't give you the shirt off my back if it means that I'm going to die. If it means some discomfort for me, sure, but, like, my kid came out, and I looked at her, and, like, instantly, like, very cliche, like, I was like, this is the person that I will die for. And this is the only person that I should be willing to die for.
Yeah.
Like, I created her, like, or at least partially. I was partially responsible.
You were part of that.
Right.
I was
part
of
the process, right? Yep. And so like I was like, this is it. Like this is what we live for. Like, and this is community, because this is the person that I'm gonna get to share my hobbies with, my interests with, and I'm gonna get to watch them develop their own hobbies and their own interests and their own personality. And if I get shot in some other country for somebody else's, profit or benefit, like I'm doing this little human that I chose to bring into the world a disservice. So
that's scary. When in that process did you become more of a spiritualist and kind of move away from like more of the structured, I guess, Christianity, religion, or whatever it might be?
I guess I had such a hard time with Sunday only Christians or
so
church
American
once a week Christians. And it's rough to say that as American, but it's very, very true. Like like we were talking about forgiveness before, and like it's so weird to watch people say, "Oh, you should forgive them," and it's like, no, they hurt another human being by using their power and influence for 6 months, 10 years. Like you don't get to tell me that it's the Christian thing for me to forgive them. That's for them to actually repent, and then them to get forgiveness from God. I am allowed to be a human, and I am allowed to say, no, they damaged another human, and this is what the punishment for that is here on earth, right? Like God has his laws or their laws, however you want to say it, right? We as men have decided our own laws, and so you commit a crime against another human being, like that should still be punished. Like it's the Christian forgiveness thing is supposed to be about forgiving somebody for being less than perfect. It's not supposed to be about forgiving somebody for being a shit human.
Right.
You've got people out there that profit off of other people's misery, whether it be financially,
Right.
power,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And so don't tell me that it's my job to forgive the people above me that hurt me. Just like I would never expect somebody like to ask for forgiveness for hurting somebody below me or at the same level as me for my gain.
Right.
Like it's just not. That's not Christian. That's not what the Bible has actually taught us.
Yeah.
So,
No. Yeah. That's fair. I mean, it's. I appreciate your, perspective on that too, because, I feel like, religion's always a dicey thing to talk about with people, especially in public spaces or even in things like this. Like everybody's got their thoughts on everything as well too. I do too, and I'm pretty open about where I come from on everything. You know, so. But it's always interesting to me, especially when somebody comes from it, especially like Bible Belt, like pretty serious background with religion and Christianity, to as an adult have evolved past that in some ways and just kind of look at things differently.
I feel like my relationship with God, the higher power, whatever anybody else wants to call him, because I'm not trying to sway anybody into my way of thinking, but my relationship with that higher power has never been better.
Right.
And that's the thing, is just like yours and my relationship. I hope you feel today like it's never been better than it is today. Like this is us.
Yeah.
Like tomorrow, you and I might get into a serious argument about something, and we may have a bad day. But the thing is that 5 years from now, our relationship should be better than it is today.
Yeah.
And that's how my spirituality works. Is that I'm supposed to be a better human today than I was yesterday.
That's
and tomorrow I'm supposed to be a better human.
I really like the weight on that. I appreciate that. That's great perspective.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. No, that's great. That heavy.
Sorry, my bad.
No, do not never apologize for that. I'm a clown 90% of the time, but that
I'm just
10%,
saying, you've had a TNA champion sitting in this hot seat before.
That is true.
There's some levity to me being here.
Right.
You also have like Drassen, huge amount of respect for him, because he really. I don't want to shit on any of the rest of us that are players or parts in that. But I mean, that man does 80% of our work for us. Like, I try to help out a little bit where I can, and my responsibilities with them are growing. But like, and then you got half-ass. All these guys have sat here, Zilla, like so many good creative minds. So like, I didn't mean to get so heavy when they're
no.
Yeah.
That you got to understand, and I appreciate everybody out there. See the chat. I know it's hard sometimes to get to the chat because when it gets heavy, I don't want to like break conversation. But I definitely appreciate somebody coming through and saying, "Get cheap viewers on streamboo.net."
What?
It's a Twitch thing.
Oh, okay.
No, Mudscover, good to see you. Appreciate everybody for some of the heavy talk. And that's what I'm saying is like. I 90% of the time, yes, I'm a clown.
Right.
I know I am, and I'm very self-aware. But excuse me, as I'm also drinking. But that 10% of me feels like it gets to a juiced, ripe 120% because the reason I do this is because I like conversation, and I love heavy conversation. I like perspective and learning things and learning things about people. That's why the first time I have people in this seat, it's more of a Q&A. And, sometimes I can throw out a ton of questions. Sometimes I get only to throw out a few, but it's because the conversation is what needs to dictate. And I know sometimes I got to kind of like maestro through it, or maestro, or whatever the word is for it. But no, I appreciate the heavy talk. So,
and like I said, like for me, like convincing you that Conan is better than Aragorn, right? Is like it's so weird to have that we have those weird, silly arguments when there is that heavy stuff in the room, and that's why sometimes I like reminding people, like, especially us guys, because like we're all in our 40s. There's some of our viewers that are like in their 30s or whatever. We've got kids coming up behind us. Like, I mean, my daughter, God bless her, like I was down on the floor with her, and I had the Sigma 6 GI Joes, those like 8-inch tall ones. And she had her Monster High dolls, and like we were playing like where they were monster hunters, and the Monster High girls were like trying to save themselves. Very Nightbreed, but very like 7-year-old version of Nightbreed. And so like I owe it to her and to all the little nerdlings that are coming up after us to like create a space for them that we weren't given. Like, our parents were not allowed to be nerds. They weren't allowed to be.
There was really hardly any call. I mean, you had probably small cultures of that, but like early with Star Trek maybe in the 60s.
But that's the thing. My dad did not admit to me that he was a Star Trek nerd until Star Trek Next Generation came out. You know what I mean? Okay. And so like, what was a Star Trek nerd? You know what I mean? And, a Trekkie. And so and so he loved the Star Trek stuff, and like, but he'd never go buy himself a Star Trek Next Generation watch or put a couple action figures up in his man cave. Exactly. Like, he would never allow himself to enjoy that stuff, and so like, our generations in the Gen X and millennials, like us elder millennials, we're like kind of responsible for all of this pop culture getting to stay relevant. And so we need to make sure that we're leaving the space better for the next generation than the way we found it. My dad would probably hang up wood carved fish that he carved by hand and painted. But I've got Dritz Durden's swords in my wall, you know what I mean? But it is funny to talk about that, because I always joke about like how growing up and certain friends I used to hang out with, like they were way into cars, and I enjoy cars. I'm not super mechanically inclined, but I am an enthusiast. I don't know anything about it. I would have if I had to, but I also don't, watch a ton of NASCAR or anything like that. Like, I'm not invested in all that. A lot of my time was different stuff, and it's just funny nowadays because a lot of like man cave or areas you go into don't look like your dads and your uncles like they used to now, with deer heads all over. And there's still people out there that do or whatever like that. Now I want to walk down a Nerdcade and see, a fucking Captain America shield or a Mjolnir hanging, or I'm really surprised
whatever.
You have not turned the door into this area into like a bat cave hidden, like
so I have some
Shakespeare.
It's funny,
push the button,
I have some plans, and it's funny you say that specifically because there has been some things that have crossed my mind to make it look like more of a wall, but it being a door there. Just because. So who knows? Someday I'll probably come up with something. But yeah, I really should. I definitely have. There's definitely a piece of something that I want to hang above the door at some point, but I haven't got that far yet. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it. But someday, yes, that's right, Mudscover. You can't have juice without the fruit. I mean, how else better can you say that, right? So I want to start pivoting a little bit here. I appreciate, like I said, a great conversation about learning about the younger you, teen you, and getting into some of the stuff. But I do want to get into a few specifics. But first, I want you to talk me through this portion here. And I don't know if this is... I'm just kind of curious on like... So you use your hands more frequently than not as actual utensils. So from what I understand, you look at all food as a finger food.
Absolutely. Like,
can you give me the 411 on that?
Sure. So absolutely. So like growing up the way I did, like I was my parents' only child, and then like there was like a 6 to 8 year gap depending on which parent you're talking about, right? Between me and then the next child that was close to me, that was like going to be my live-in sibling all the time, right? And so like I was left to my devices a lot. And so like, frozen food, right? Like literally my mom's like, oh, throw in a kid cuisine, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, I had to wash my own dishes, but since nobody's fucking watching me, like, okay, pick up the Salisbury steak, eat it, like grab the use 2 fingers like this, right? Grab the mashed potatoes, scoop it in the Salisbury steak gravy, lick your fingers clean, right? And then you get to throw everything away, and there's no dishes, right? And so that's where it started.
That's where it started.
It started from like sheer little kid laziness, and then I was like, wow, dishes are one of those things that we do as adults that is really stupid. Like, we are gonna eat off of this fork, right?
Yeah.
And then instead of just like rinsing it off real quick and wiping it down, no, there's this whole scrubbing process. Then you got to spray it with the cleaner, and then you got to scrub it again.
Yeah.
And somebody's gonna see a water streak on it because you didn't wash it right, and they're gonna be pissed off. And that's usually a partner, but sometimes it's a parent or a roommate, right? So fuck the silverware. You got it right here, like. I love that we went from religion and military industrial complex to the fact that I everything's finger food for me. Yeah. I mean, Erica made me change that, unfortunately. Like she
made you change it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm telling you, I could take a to-go container from like a hibachi, salad, soup, the noodles, the rice, the veggies, and the meat.
With me?
And no, I'm serious.
Salad even?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my god, that's fucking great.
Yeah.
I gotta go out here because I almost started laughing when I read one of these. You're being called. Drassen called you a caveman.
Yep. Drassen called me that once before.
Julie asks, "Can soup be a finger food, or is there a line somewhere?"
So that's the thing, is soup already comes in its own container, and anybody that wants to argue with that with me,
okay,
80s thermoses from our little kid lunch boxes. Like, mom packed you that fucking chicken noodle soup. If she forgot the spoon, you were twisting off the cap and you were just sipping away at it, and when you got chunks, you chewed and you swallowed. Like,
so like a can of Denny Moore beef stew, and you looked at it like a chocolate shake.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
fucking A.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm a very simple creature. Like, all that deep philosophical stuff, but like when it comes to day-to-day operations, like, I mean, don't leave me to my own devices. It's bad. Like,
I want to know more about Erica changing you on this. So what does that look like? When she first did you like do something in front of her? She go, what the actual your finger in your pudding?
So I made a really nice steak dinner for us.
Okay.
At my place, right? And there's steak, there's mashed potatoes, there's either asparagus or long green bean. Right. I forget what it is, right? Okay. But like, I made it. I literally used the fork and knife to cut it up into strips, right? To cut the steak up into strips. Okay. And then I started eating the mashed potatoes.
Did you cut hers too?
No, just
okay.
Served her with her silverware, right?
With her silverware.
Right? But I cut up the steak, right? And I was like, okay, this is one of those social situations where, and I swear I'm undiagnosed autistic, right? Because I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, I have to use silverware because that's what normal people do.
Sure.
And I'm not eating alone, right? And so I'm sitting there and I eat my mashed potatoes, right? And then I see her like pick up a piece of her steak and eat it with her fingers. And so I'm like, oh, this is okay. And so I started eating the green beans or asparagus, whatever it is, and the steak with my freaking hands. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I start wiping my fingers off, all greasy and stuff from the garlic butter. And yeah. And so, I mean, she was like, you can't do that. She was like, at least not when we're out in public. Like, I need you to actually be a human being and not a caveman, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What about like even peas?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just cup them?
Yeah. Just 2 fingers, scoop. And then...
Fucking love it. Oh my God, this is fucking amazing. Julia says, but then it's not finger food. The container is the utensil, the vehicle to get it to your face. Yeah, I've definitely eaten things right out of the can. Okay, here's one. I don't know if this is that weird. Maybe it is, but I eat all my SpaghettiOs cold in the can with a spoon.
I can't stand SpaghettiOs. I cannot stand them.
Oh my God, meatball spaghetti, chicken meatball SpaghettiOs.
Yeah. But let me tell you, like, and I want to be mildly inappropriate for a second, though.
That's perfectly fine.
Let me tell you, like, I have never used a spoon on a Jell-O or a pudding cup, and I have never had an unsatisfied girlfriend either. So, I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
that's a fucking fair point. Fair. Jesus Christ, this is amazing. Gazpacho shots. Dips are served with finger food soup as a dip. Eh, There you go.
Yeah.
Fucking yeah, I know this is fucking awesome. Awesome. Well, I appreciate the heavy into the dippy. The dippy,
Yeah,
I don't know, whatever.
absolutely, yeah, the hook.
Is that what you call it? The hook?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So the only utensil you really need is the hook. And let's be honest, if we ever get to a point where the world has some crazy apocalyptic event,
Right.
utensils could be the currency, but you've got utensils at you at all times.
Exactly.
That's very true.
I mean, and like think about people at the backpack camp. Like those sporks aren't light, man. Like they
Yeah.
took room. Like
dude, and as an adult, I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but when I first moved into this home after getting my divorce, I was looking for like different things around the home that I thought I needed, like silverware, blah blah.
yeah.
And I discovered after 40 some years thinking that it was just a plastic thing that they made metal fucking sporks.
Yeah.
Best fucking, it's always been my favorite utensil.
Right.
And now we use our sporks at his home.
Yeah.
All the fucking, I mean, you don't get that, but
And
like,
that's the bourgeoisie, man, trying to lie to you, telling you that sporks is only disposable silverware. Like,
yeah.
if I have to use a utensil, the spork is the utensil because it covers two jobs,
Yes,
just like my hands.
Fucking
like,
amazing.
My hands do all these jobs. Like a spork does multiple jobs.
Right. Think about hibachi, for instance, for me. Like if I'm eating hibachi and it's chicken or steak in there and all this rice.
Right.
If you use a fork, it's falling through it. And if you're using a spoon, it's hard to keep the chicken, they teeter off of it.
Exactly.
But you got a spork.
Right.
Stab, scoop.
Right. And then if you or one of those really great hibachis that have the noodles, right? You can spin it around like you would a fork, and it catches more of it because it's got this shape of a spoon.
Exactly.
Of a fork. Like, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, SpaghettiOs from the can. Chicken meatball SpaghettiOs. Yeah. Oh yeah. But awesome. How long you been playing D&D? Is that like a kid?
Yeah. So 12, I started playing.
Really? So that would have been. Did you play second edition? Or did you start with that? That'd have been Thaco, right?
Yeah.
Because you remember Thaco, right?
Yes, I do remember Thaco. Yeah. I remember like 3 and 3.5 though is like where I really found my groove.
I think a lot of people really did.
That I wanted to DM, and so like I started DMing almost right away within a couple of years. And the thing that I love about DMing, right, and this is why Drastin will never let me like DM long term on the stream, right, is I want to build a world where it feels large, but you as my player still feel like the star. And one of the greatest accomplishments that I have as a DM is I've never had somebody come to my table and play like 2 or 3 sessions and tell me that they didn't feel like their character ever did anything, you know, or like that their character only performed a video game style function. Oh, I'm the healer, I'm the tank, right? Because like, you know, if that's what you're doing, you're not writing a collaborative story. You're playing a paper and pencil board game. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Or video games.
So damn, 12. Okay, so yeah, you started early on then too.
30 years.
Even earlier than I did too.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, our age difference kind of still lines up because it was like 14, I think, for me.
But see, I hung out with a lot of high school guys when I was in middle school. So like
that makes sense.
Because I moved here, and like I said, when I moved to the more northeast part of the Midwest from Iowa, like I didn't have any friends anyway. So like you find out the library's got this thing called Dungeons and Dragons, and you saw the Tom Hanks movie where like he literally got to summon the devil from playing it, and you're like, I want to summon the devil too.
Exactly.
Right? And so like the library was running this like D&D thing, and so like I met a whole bunch of high schoolers and I started hanging out with them.
That's awesome. Yeah. It was different for me.
Okay.
But similar in a sense that like I know I was dabbling. Maybe I was more like 14 or 15. I got to kind of rethink that. Yeah, something like that. I don't think I was just on the cusp of being able to drive.
Yeah.
And I started, because I was 16. Because I started working at McDonald's, and a friend of a friend was working there.
East of Chicago Pizza. That was my first job. So like I get it. Like
yeah. So that opened up all my social, like working at McDonald's was, I look back when I was there for 11 years and left as a store manager, but my time there as just working as crew and fucking partying with everybody after work and doing stuff.
Yeah.
Some of the best times of my life. And it opened up, because a lot of my friends, because again, small school, a lot of my friends still like old high school friends. A lot of them still live in that radius of the old high school.
Right.
But I got a job outside of that, and I met and connected with people from other cities and towns.
Right.
And so it was different. So I say all that because it's what got me into Dungeons and Dragons originally. And the guy who's still a friend of mine to this day, who lives not far from me, and I hate that we don't hang out, my original DM was like probably 5-6 years older than me.
Right.
And so I was hanging out with like older dudes, and instead of being out partying, throwing back old brewskis or anything, Saturday nights we were at his grandparents, hanging out in the garage, drinking Jolt Cola, and rolling dice,
and then not being able to sleep all the way until you got to get up for church on Sunday morning.
R.I.P. Jolt Cola. God damn, that shit was fucking amazing.
Dude, the red can Jolt was my favorite.
Yeah, it was. I think that was. Yeah,
were
was
you
that
a red
double?
can? So that was like, there was original Jolt Cola, which was blue.
Yes, the blue, and then it was the red can because it was the double.
Yep.
Yeah, fucking right.
And so red can Jolt Cola,
yeah, man,
and like old school Cheetos that like still fell apart. When
like the puffy, all the puffy. I get cheese balls is my of that brand's the cheese balls, and then he worked at Little Caesars. As the manager. Yeah. So we would take a break at like 7:00, and then we'd all go to Little Caesars, go behind the counter, and build our fucking own pizzas. And then take them back.
So like,
great experience.
So we would play right after I get off. We would play right after I got off at East Chicago Pizza on like Saturday nights, right? And so like I worked 4 or 5 nights a week, like 20 hours. The most you could work is like a 15-year-old kid, right?
Yeah.
And so you got a small pizza, a small 10-inch pizza every shift you worked, and the owner there, I'll never forget him. I'll never forget him. His name was John, and he was awesome. Like, he was in his mid-20s, like real career driven. But guess what? He was the first dude I had ever met that was in his 20s, and he owned like all those old school $300 like Marvel statues that we used to see in the back of Wizard. Oh my God,
yeah, right? Really?
And
yeah.
He was the reason why I got to watch WWE pay-per-views, because he got them, and so he'd schedule me off every Sunday night so that I could go to his house and watch pay-per-views. And so that he was a real big part of like me accepting nerd culture, but he knew that I liked playing like D&D with those guys on Saturday night after I got off work, and he was like, okay, well, if you just eat a sandwich or whatever, like, and not a full small pizza, he was like, I'll let you take 2 or 3 larges home plus whatever, people don't pick up, like, because as well as I do in the pizza industry, like, you get that phone call, I want 4 large pizzas with pepperoni and mushrooms, and then they never come pick them up.
Yeah.
So, like, I could have 2 large pizzas as long as they were, like, 1 toppings or nothing too crazy, and
that's fucking
and then
cool.
whatever got left behind at the end of the night in the heat rack. So
now think of because I had people in my life too, not just those guys that I made friends with and played D&D, but people at work too that were almost those guiding lights that would do those little cool things for you that I feel like when you look back on those, like without some of those sort of things, him being that cool and seeing, because he was older than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Mid-20s, and I'm like 14 or 15.
And he was looking at you like, this little dude's going to be like a big dude someday. Like, those are, it's crazy to think back how that butterfly affects probably who you even are today.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a person. That's pretty cool.
He was so kind to me, and he had such a weird sense of humor too, which I also have a weird sense of humor.
You do.
So I've got a story, and anybody that's a wrestling fan may appreciate this, but they may not, right? But you have to remember what was going on in our minds at the time. So, like, when the Blue Blazer fell out of the rafters at Over the Edge, 1998, right? Okay.
Were you watching that live?
Yes, at John's house. At John's house,
my
right?
God.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, once again, it's that humor that brings levity to even the most serious situations, right?
Yeah.
So we're watching it, and now if you think about it, we've seen like the Undertaker have all these crazy bumps over the 97, 96 with Mankind's bumps, like, and WWE's starting to get a little edgier, and Blue Blazer's kind of like that last thing. So when he falls and he lands, like, at first it feels like it's part of the show because like JR and King are staying so calm and so rational, right? And I remember there was somebody sitting with us at John's house, and he was like, come on, roll him out of the ring and bring in the real Owen Hart, because when Owen fell in his Blue Blazer outfit, it looked like a a rag
Ragdoll, right.
You know what I mean? And so like somebody's literally like, oh man, roll that mannequin out of there and get the match going already.
Oh,
like, come on, because it was like 20 minutes that it took them to move him. You know what I mean? And so it was so weird because like so many of us, when those serious situation kicks in, there's that part in our brain that always wants to make it not serious and wants to make it funny.
That too soon?
Right.
Too soon?
The too soon. Right. I am the too soon guy sometimes. But like I'll never forget, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was like, oh, roll the fucking mannequin out of the ring and get fucking Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart out here so they can wrestle. And like,
goddamn.
Then to find out like an hour and a half later, watching it live, that he was dead, it was like, holy shit, you know, because like, I mean, like you said, there's like a 4 or 5 year age gap between us, but like the Hart Foundation, New Rockers, you know, like Owen was a serious dude. Like, I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin, like he cut his teeth on Owen and Bret Hart and became Stone Cold
during that period of time.
Period of time. And so,
man,
Owen's one of those guys that like I loved, but like that levity, you know, to that situation in nerdom.
Fucking hell, I can't believe first person I know personally that said that they actually watched that happen live. I wasn't that. I was more, I think, still kind of leaning WCW at that point.
I can't say I blame you. Like 98 is when things really started to turn over for the WWE.
It did.
Yeah,
it did. So with D&D, do you have a favorite class that you typically gravitate toward? Because I know mine, but
charisma characters.
Like, it's not even a class.
It's not even a class. Yeah. Now I love warlocks. Obviously,
I was gonna say charisma.
But bards are really good for me.
Bard's a great one.
And then charisma based rogues are phenomenal.
Sure. Yeah.
And one of the things that I will tell and I'll reveal now that people are about to flip out and Draston's probably going to kick me off the stream.
He will.
Is I recycle about the same 12 first names in all my characters. So Justinian, Brander, right?
So you use it basically as an archetype for the character you're playing, and that name goes with that.
Yes, and so Justinian is always either like a paladin, a warlock, or a cleric, right? He's always somebody that's dealing with a higher power, druid. He's always that character, right? And then there's Garen, and Garen is always the fighter or the rogue, and he's always like kind of cunning and kind of smart, right? And usually dexterous, right? And then you've got Bragger, and Bragger and Jarko, right, are both always your tanks. They're your paladins that are more like law based than holy based, or your barbarians or your strength based fighters. Like they are always the big guys. And then I've got a couple of ladies, but I don't want to reveal their names yet because campaign 3 will hopefully eventually happen.
right.
And I want to play a woman because
hey, Dungeon says it works for him. So there you go. Grasson says it works for him.
But so like Justinian has had like 5 different last names, and he's had like 3 different races. And
damn.
And it's never like it's actually fine tuning or anything. It's always like what story I want to tell that time. And like this time, you know, I watched about 18 to 24 hours of 7D. Like I went through all the bonus actions. Excuse me. And I went back and I watched 3 very impactful episodes from what those bonus actions told me. And when I looked at the group, what the group needed was they needed something light but not goofy. And so they needed a kid. They needed somebody who was younger, somebody who was inexperienced, but somebody that was driven and pure. And so that's what Justinian needed to be for the group, you know, because, I mean, spoilers for anybody that hasn't watched, but, you know, pardon my French, fuck you if you haven't watched us yet, because, like, it's a pretty good fucking stream.
Yeah,
I mean, and the guys are so talented, but, like, you know, Gwenton, you've got that very serious dwarf and cleric. He's very, very, I want to say standard. I want to say he's very dependable, right?
Yeah.
And then you have this, you know, robot monk in Bishop, and his story's phenomenal because like he's thousands of years old, but he's still trying to learn how to function in a world where he's not given orders and he's got kind of that autonomy. And Marsland, God bless him. James, I have to tell you, is so funny, and I wish people could see how funny he is in person when we do our in-persons every year, because he's always the gimmicky guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's great.
Yeah.
But Marsland's very, very smart, but he doesn't know quite how to apply himself, and he doesn't know how to focus. He reminds me of like somebody that's like just rattled out of their mind on caffeine and trying to do 5 or 6 things at once.
One time, right.
And then we had Oz at the time, and Oz was interesting because he had like probably the most tragic backstory out of all of us, but it didn't feel like that fit Biddle, you know what I mean, at the time. But oh my God, his paladin fits him to a T right now.
Sure.
Like I love it because Jeff, the player, fucking loves Biddle's paladin, right? Justinian can't stand him. He's his least favorite person in the world right now. Like other than people that they have killed. Like literally his least favorite person, because like we were talking about, like with the whole pious and preachy, you know, Biddle's character is very much that, you know, and Justinian's like has a lot of faith of his own, but he's like, hey, do you want to know more about what I believe in nature? And with the character having just been resurrected and us not having gotten to play together since my character got resurrected, there's going to be some fallout from that, because that's unnatural. And I am very like natural based character. So for
you listening, Drastin? You listening?
For the party to resurrect me,
right?
Like that goes directly against how I feel. It's going to go against the natural order. Like I stopped breathing. Like for 30 seconds to a minute, I was either in heaven or hell, and Drastin's going to have to tell me which it was, and I'm going to have to decide how I feel about that. But
yeah, and you're in the realms too, which means it's going to get really sick too.
Right.
Going to be sweet. So
and so it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out, because like, I mean, a character that doesn't believe in being brought back unnaturally, like, and a character that quite frankly from the beginning has made deals with people not understanding what they meant. Like that's part of the character, you know, is that
he said he's a young kid, right?
Right.
Kind of kid, yeah.
17, 18 years old, and
fucking around in the world.
Yeah.
Brain isn't developed yet.
Right, exactly.
You know. What about Gwynton? What does he feel about Gwynton?
Oh, so Gwynton is Justinian's favorite character.
Yeah.
In the group. Like he loves Gwynton. However, Justinian has issues with every single member of the party, and every single member of the party seems to have issues with Justinian too. Like it and that's one of the things I love, is that like we really do have a good natural flow of everything, and everybody can kind of get to be their own person in their own spotlight.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And for those that don't know, what he's talking about is 7Dungeons, as you can see here in the YouTube there. They stream every Monday at 7 p.m. They've been running, this is campaign 2. Runs anywhere from 2 to 3.5 hours, sometimes wherever it rolls. But, they've been working on this campaign for a long time. So I'll talk more about that at the end. But again, if you enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, you enjoy good storytelling, you like tabletop gaming and role playing, and if you just like characters in general, it's a good time to check them out. For sure, they're spinning some yarn out there, is what I keep saying with Drastin. They're doing some great stuff out there. So, awesome. No, I'm glad you got involved. How was it that you actually got to be involved specifically with 7Dungeons? How did that happen?
So, a really quick breakdown of that was when I met you at Midland. I also met 70, and I sat down and played at Mike's table one day. I played at Drastin's table the next. And I was so enamored with the two of them in their relationship when they were in between sessions.
Yeah.
And listening to them talk about their passion for it, that I hit up Drastin on the second day, and I'm like, hey, I have this trap that I developed all the way back in 3rd edition, and I've played it in every edition since, and it is guaranteed it always goes off. It's a great trap. And so I laid it out for him. I drew it out on a piece of paper, and I'm like, change it, make it your own.
No straight lines, though.
Yeah, no straight lines. No, didn't have graphic paper, so no straight lines. Yeah, but I drew it out for him, and I was like, here's how I work it typically, but you can change it up here this way or that way. But it's a trap that forces the party to make a really tough decision. And I've always found that it's really good if you can trigger one of those for the party early, so that, you know, you and I sit down and we play together for the first time. You know, I love you. I've known you for 3 years now. I have absolutely no idea how your style of D&D goes when you're in your comfort zone as a player, which mine are charisma characters. Yours?
Oh, charisma definitely plays a big part in it.
Yeah. Okay.
There's definitely a little bit of me in all my characters, I think.
Oh, absolutely. But that's the thing is, it's the. Have you ever played one on purpose to stay out of your comfort zone?
Oh, I'll check out new classes from time to time. I always just end up. I typically lean to rogue, and then cleric's usually number 2. I also really like warlocks, psionicis, but that just came back finally.
Right.
So yeah, I'll play. I will honestly pick up and play anything. I love bards.
Right.
Like, honestly, I'm more into the RP. So sometimes the heavy combat, like playing as a fighter and stuff like that, like tanks, would probably bore me just a little bit, but I'd have to put a lot of character into it.
Right.
Then it wouldn't be so bad.
Absolutely.
But I digress. Yeah, I'll play anything. I don't care. I'll play.
But
anything.
yeah, so I try to set off one of those traps really early in my campaign, so that everybody can figure out how their own character reacts to those really weird stress situations, and everybody can figure out how their party members also react to it. And I've got a lot of stuff that carries over when I'm DMing. Like, I have this bar that's also a secret guild called the Chained Maiden. And no matter what large metropolis town you go to, in my stories, there is always a Chained Maiden. And if you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, it's great because literally, like, players that come back from one campaign to the next and they hit a Chained Maiden, I have to be like, you don't know that. You don't know that that's a service they offer here, you know.
Right.
You don't know that you can find out, like, what the skinny is on this or that here, because it's an information brokering system.
Okay.
Based off of Yawning Portal.
Yeah.
So I literally just kind of took that concept, like every good writer does. You take this concept that works, and you take the parts out that don't work for you, and you chain them. And so change them.
I've heard that's plagiarism.
Yeah, absolutely. but I mean,
I changed the title.
Drow Ranger, like, I mean, you know,
right.
Every single Drow Ranger that will ever exist will always be Dritz.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
No matter how much you change his backstory, no matter how much you change his weapon,
it's always going to be a Dritz.
It's always going to be a Dritz, and you're always going to get accused of plagiarizing him. I played a Drow cleric once, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're just trying to play Dritz," and I'm like,
"Don't make any sense." Like, yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, so the Chain Maiden's one of my favorite things about
that's cool.
My D&D world. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, no, I'm glad you got involved with 7Dungeons. You know, I think everybody does a great job. It's been increasingly harder for me to try and keep up as much as I have been able to in the past, but that's just the way my life has been in the last year or so, I feel like, too. But I try to catch in, at least get in there and chat and lurk and listen and try to catch up when I can and post if I need to, if I can't continue live. So, but I definitely respect and appreciate what Drastin does. He puts a lot of work into it, but you know, the players put a lot of their time into it as well too. So, but let me ask this: so, as a Swiftie, what would you say not only is your favorite song?
How do you know I'm a Swiftie?
But also, what song? Because they don't have to line up. But what is your favorite song? But what song do you feel like actually speaks to you the most?
Okay, so the one that she just released on Tortured Poets last year, I forget the name of it, but she did it with Post Malone.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really very touching and moving song, and it hits me on a personal level.
Sure.
But Shake It Off is my favorite Taylor Swift song of all time.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
Yeah, I love it. My kid was super young when that song came out, and so like me and her would be sitting in the Mazda Miata bopping to it together.
There you go.
You know, because the players want to play.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, fair enough.
But good. Taylor Swift to me is one of those musicians, and it's gonna be funny because I'm gonna draw a line, and I bet you like you're gonna be able to see it. So Corey Taylor from Slipknot, right? Okay. Corey, who we got on Slipknot's debut album, or even Stone Sour's first EP, which is how I discovered Corey, because being from Iowa, like...
That's funny, because if there was time, I was going to kind of bring
okay,
it. I always no. But continue.
Yeah.
Continue.
So, if you look at the two of them as artists, and then you take my favorite artist, which is Zakk Wylde from Ozzy Osbourne Black Label Society, right?
Which I know they did their last. I was bummed he wasn't involved.
Oh my God, he was on stage playing with Ozzy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was playing with Ozzy. Well, chat, let me know if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn that I saw Zakk Wylde playing guitar for Ozzy.
Maybe I'm wrong on that. Right? I didn't think I saw him.
I thought I saw him.
Okay,
on there.
fair enough.
Because
I've seen him live solo.
Me too.
Oh my God, that man shreds.
Yes.
Huge. Anyways, go ahead.
And him and Dimebag were super cool when I met them in person.
Well, I got to so when Metallica was touring and Pantera was touring, he played Dimebag's spot on that tour.
Yes.
So it was extra
I saw that
special
on the internets, but yeah.
Yeah, extra special.
Yeah.
I love
Zakk Wylde's a wonderful human being too.
Yes.
But anyways, the three of them as artists, right?
Yes,
okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Music's big around here, but
I love all sorts of genres of music, right?
Same.
But there's a lot of artists that refuse to change,
Mm-hmm.
or they become more commercial, and then they stay in that commercial, right? Like Gwen Stefani's a great example. Like, she has stayed pop princess. She started off, no doubt, kind of punky, but still had some pop sensibilities, right? Yeah. Skop. That's perfect.
Skunk.
But like, she's a great artist. No, beef with Gwen Stefani, but like Taylor Swift, Corey Tyler from Slipknot, Zakk Wylde, like, you grow with them. And their music grows with us. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree with that.
Corey
for
one
Slipknot,
time,
for me, for sure.
Corey one time, like they were like, "Hey, why does your music like sound like sad and not angry anymore?" And he's like, "Because he's like, you guys have made me like so rich, and you've made me like so popular, and I know I've got friends all around the world. The angry young man is gone. Now I'm the sad old guy that realizes that the world's not gonna ever be what I want it to be, no matter how much influence I put out into it. And so that makes me sad. And so, and it was striking me because I was like, holy shit, like, this dude literally like has hit that space that we all hit in our 30s or 40s where we're like, man, we owe it to give back to the community what we've taken out of it. And so him, Zakk Wylde, and Taylor Swift, whether people want to talk shit on her or not, like, you listen to her first album, you listen to her latest album, they're two different people, you know? And then my other kind of favorite artist off of that is somebody like Stevie Nicks, and she's timeless.
Yeah.
Like, because she stays the same from beginning to end, right? Like, her music stays the same, but it never gets to that pop. And then that's when it turns into the status quo. Like, no, she just had that spot, and she knew where she was from her Fleetwood Mac days, and she stayed consistent, and she may have been just way more mature than those other three that I mentioned before right off the rip, but those are my favorite kind of musicians. Dolly Parton. You know, she's that woman has stayed the same queen of country her entire career, but it's worked for her.
I think that there's a great conversation when it comes to being that artists that do evolve over time, and Corey, I'm familiar partly with that conversation as well too, and that's because I've even got friends that like Slipknot that are like, oh, it was all harder stuff, or I've heard people say that, and I get that, but you can still go back and listen to that, But then you hear Corey say and speak on that's a different mindset, right? But then there are the timeless ones that you like to me, like Green Day's a timeless kind of sound and band. Like, they've always been kind of who they are. They're just less fucking fucked up on drugs and alcohol now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they still sound the same. And I don't want Green Day to sound different than Green Day. That's why I still like Green Day. You know what I mean? You know, they might not be my most favorite band. They might not even be anybody's, but I like Green Day because I like how Green Day sounds. But when a new Slipknot album comes out, I'm fucking dissecting it. I'm listening to it backwards, forward. I'm playing the vinyl to see if there's backwards, to see if there's some Satan words in there or something crazy. So, you know.
The next time we do one of these, we'll have to have the Metallica talk then, because like I would love to dissect Metallica with you.
My friends, specifically Forge, aka Chance, and Zatter, aka Jared, they are the two biggest super fans of Metallica. Like they're and they love it all of it.
Even Saint Anger.
I think everybody recognizes that Saint Anger might not be the best of Metallica,
Right.
or whatever it might look like.
Right.
But even I look at that too. Like I still like Saint Anger.
Do you know what Saint Anger is to me when I look at Metallica?
No.
Right. Okay. So Cliff died.
Yeah.
Right. And they brought on Jason.
Yeah.
And Jason, they abused the fuck out of him while
Yeah.
he was in that band. I mean, there's no secrets. Like they put out documentaries about it. Like
Yeah.
Lars isn't gonna hire an assassin to come shoot me tonight because I'm saying this out loud. But like they abused him as a way to not deal with the pain of losing Cliff.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when Jason left, like Saint Anger's that album where they're like, we've got to get our shit together. And like everything they've put out since Saint Anger was like good, but it was a different Metallica. And so it's really weird because it's that we moved into commercialization, but like Load and Reload, I still love those fucking albums.
Yeah, like
give me fuel, give me fire, give me that
right.
which I desire.
I like Load and Reload
right,
too,
right.
and that's usually controversial. There's a lot of Metallica fans out there that are 4-album Metallica fans, and that's where they say it stops and ends.
Right.
I can understand that to a degree, but that just sounds like Grandpa sitting on the fucking porch pointing fingers at the kids. Like people change. Like yes, the Black Album was more commercial, but when you get into music or you do anything for success, when you find success, that just kind of comes with it. Like we can have a discussion about selling out posers.
Right.
We can have those kind of conversations. I can see both of it. I think there's a different, different
posers
degrees.
don't release albums that bad and then come back from it. Like
Right.
they either release albums that are that bad and their careers are over, right? Or they never release a bad album because it stays poppy.
Right.
But Metallica dealt with their shit as adults. Like go out and get therapy. Like really, people like and go be part
that's
of the
why they're
community.
different now.
And,
I mean,
right.
But
I think every album since Saint Anger has just been good. Like it's been a different
That's
Metallica, but it's been a good Metallica, and that's why I think it's funny because it's like Saint Anger is the only Metallica album that I refuse to listen to anymore, and it's because it wasn't either Metallica because you have Cliff, and you have Jason having to fill Cliff's shoes, and then you have when oh god, what's his name? Rob came on as the bassist, and so like that Saint Anger album's the one weird one where it's not Metallica. It's a bunch of guys trying to figure out who they are now that they're actually going to deal with their trauma like adults.
Yeah, and you can tell, like I said, you can tell now with the band in their interviews, their conversations, when they're in front of an audience and stuff like that. Because I've seen them twice now. And the last one I saw was 2 years ago, that big ass tour that they did with Pantera and I think it was Five Finger Death Punch as well. And it's just like even from the last time I saw them, there were similarities, but you could tell again, like they're enjoying the twilight of their late years and they're leaning into it and fuck it,
right?
And they're happy people now,
right?
And that's fine.
And it happens for professional wrestlers the same as it does for musicians.
Yeah. That's perfectly fine. Do we want to chat for a second? Just to kind of follow up on a few things. Appreciate y'all. Julia said the Back to the Beginning concert opened with Osborne, 76, 4 and 5 songs alongside a solo band. Okay, Zach Wilde was there. My bad. I did not realize that. Did not realize that.
Because Zach gave up drinking for health reasons, and that's the reason why Sharon had asked him to leave the band was because, like, I mean, he was a beer drinker, like, So.
I love Black Label.
Me too.
But the song for Dimebag, speaking of Dimebag, In This River.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Still Tears.
Still Tears. Yeah. That's the name of it. Try listen to that and not wanting to start crying.
No, In This River is the name of the song.
Oh, okay. I was like, did I get that wrong?
Yeah, no, I still cry.
Oh, got you. Yeah.
Every time I put on like Spotify Black Label Society and In This River comes on, I like need to pull over into the next parking lot. I just need to sit there and I need to absorb it.
I got a couple songs, but yeah, that's one of them.
Like I said, I like to skip the military shit a lot.
Yeah.
But that song literally came out in 2005, and I was in the middle of my second tour in Iraq. And so things happened that made me relate to that song.
Yeah.
Like in my first deployment, my second deployment, and my third deployment after that.
Yeah.
And so
I believe
like you just feel it. Like when you lose a sibling like that, and it's funny because I know they're not like blood brothers, but like, at this point I consider you like a sibling.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? And so like when you lose a sibling like that, it changes you. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know if you've ever lost anybody that you're close to, but like my dad was another one of my siblings. Like, you know, he was just somebody that I was so attached to, and he was such an important part of who I was that like knowing that he was never going to be on the earth again changed who I was.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it changed. I think it changes everybody, and like that, like you said, like music is one of those things that you relate to. Oh yeah. So I will tell you that because we talked about it recently. I don't remember who else even talking about it with Britt, but anytime Audio Slave Like a Stone comes on, every fucking time that comes on, I have to check my mind, otherwise I become a fucking wet noodle in my face.
Yeah,
like that song hits so hard mentally for me, like it's just I can't even explain it.
So can we talk about what that song is for you, and then I'll tell you what that song is for me, because I have the same reaction, but I wonder if it's for the same reason. So mine, is there a specific moment, specific person, or
it's now become more, so it wasn't as bad prior on. Honestly, my early memories of it actually involved Drassen when we were playing EverQuest, and they had an in-game music thing that you could use. So if you had music on your computer and that song would come on, and Audio Slave was still kind of new then, and I grew up listening to, or I mean, who doesn't like fucking Rage Against the Machine? And though Soundgarden was never one of my favorites in the grunge era, Chris Cornell was fastly one of my favorite vocalists, and still probably my all-time favorite vocalist. But when that song would come on, we were playing the game and stuff like that, and we would, it was a core memory, right?
Yep.
And then over time, as that's evolved, and I've gotten older, I've understood the song a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then when he died, it connected with me, the demons he was fighting, and how much that song, how real that song was. And to me, like, it doesn't necessarily connect to any specific person or a thing necessarily. Like maybe outside a little bit of Drassen, but like it's because I feel like I understand his perspective, and I get it more as I keep getting older.
Okay.
So like, when you're thinking, I don't know, that's
no, you're great. Yeah,
because that's what it is for me. Like I listen to that song and I think back, and it makes me want to close my eyes and kind of rewind time backwards and think about things in my past that you've done, that you've seen. Like you can't rewind time, and it is what it is, and here you are. And it just makes me fucking an emotional mess.
That's really crazy. So for me, that song, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is about the fact that you can't rewind time either. And it literally has to do with the like 10 actual regrets that I have in my life, right? And it all revolves around people that I hurt, that I didn't mean to hurt. You know what I mean? And so like my relationship with my parents, my relationship with my first great love, my relationship with my friends prior to the military, like the fact that I let those relationships go when all I wanted to do was be in their presence, like, and that I said something or I did something to push them away for my own safety, inside my own chest. Like that is what that song always does to me when I hear it. It's like, I know I push you away, but all I want to do is ruminate where you are. And that's how I feel with my friend. And I always want to be where all my friends are.
Yeah.
Even if they're not friends with each other, I wish I could pile all fucking 50 of you guys up into one room together in just a big cuddle puddle, and we just enjoy life together.
And that's similar to even Britt and I talk about that even today a little bit. I just talk about like different friends, because next week the roommate, we call it the roommate crew, the guys that, we were just time of our life. All we did was drink, smoke a ton of weed, play D&D, watch movies, and we lived together for a 2-year pocket of time, and it was the best time of our lives.
Right.
And thanks to WhatsApp chat, when Chance moved to MSU, to be able to all of us as a group, 90% of the time, have still talked to each other, at least in some form, every day.
That's
even
amazing.
if it's just a fucking dumb meme. Doesn't matter. And we've always stayed in contact. And I think about the people that don't have that connection with things. So what you say resonates with me, because that's why I like hosting people. That's why I always do like events or want people to come over, because I'm the same way. I always want to be around my people for a cuddle puddle. Right.
And that's the thing is, like, when you find those people that you connect with on some personal level, like you want to do something for them that is for them, but it's also, when they see it, it's for you. So like for example, when we did the D&D in person a couple weeks back for 7D, like one of the things that I wanted to do for Drastin is I wanted to make sure that his character felt like he had a purpose outside of a one shot. You know what I mean? I wanted, even if I could only do it for him for like 30 seconds, I wanted to make him forget that this was a one shot and it was gonna be over in 6 hours. You know what I mean? And then one of the other things that I wanted to do for everybody, because on top of the 7D crew, I got to play with Quentin's wife and I got to play with Erica. They got to join us for that. And that was really special to me. So I did like the whole 2 truths and a lie, where I made everybody tell me like either 2 truths and 1 lie or 2 lies and 1 truth about themselves. And then I gave them to everybody not knowing, and like listening to them conversate while trying to figure those things out. And like the organic not trust that strangers have in a room together. Like the fact that we got to watch that play out, and that being able to give that experience to people that I love, you know, and I say love a lot and people think it means that I'm just like a whore and I give it out, but it's not true. I just, I don't know how to partially love somebody. You know what I mean? Either you're an acquaintance and we're good and everything, or you're a stranger or you're an enemy, but like once you are in that circle of like 50 people, like let me tell you, watch out if you mess with any of those people, because like, I'm there.
Because I'm the same way. Like I ride high on that kind of emotion as well too, that camaraderie, because it becomes like family to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I completely 100% get that. Awesome. That was a great music on this show.
Yeah.
Very often when it comes up, it becomes a pretty big hot topic. And we definitely went into a good route with that one. I do want to see a little bit of everybody as well too. Lars is an asshole. Yeah. Other transition.
Why does everybody hate Lars so much?
It's Napster.
Whoever posted
it's Drastin. It's because of Napster.
So I understand why people can get kind of hatey about that, right?
Yeah.
And boo-hoo to the guy that makes $25 million a year, you know what I mean? But like, that man works his ass off to make that $25 million. And he was still rocking hard when all fucking 4 of them were sleeping in one room on fucking piss-stained mattresses. You know what I mean? And so like, we oftentimes like really hop on the artist for pointing out like, oh, hey, you're not paying me for my art anymore, right? But then we've got no problem when Disney doesn't, you know, pay Scarlett Johansson for Black Widow when she wasn't getting the same payout deal that her male co-stars were for their movies. Like, come on, dude. Like, we've got to stick together, because like, you're an artist. You create this wonderful content for people out there. I'm an artist. Drastin's an artist. You know, blaming the artist when like it's the soulless corporate machine behind the artist that's really making the money. Because what the fuck did Napster?
Fucking Ticketmaster, by the way.
What did Napster ever do for you? Besides give you access to a whole bunch of artists without having to pay those artists. You know what I mean? What the fuck did Napster do for you? And where's Napster at now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's Spotify now.
Like, you think about it, like you love Spotify, right?
Oh yeah.
But like, if Spotify went away tomorrow, right? The only thing that's gonna happen is you're gonna have to go seek that artist from somewhere else, right? But like
YouTube.
When Ozzy Osbourne performed his last song ever, right? Like, you're never getting that back.
Right.
You know what I mean? When Drastin says, "We'll see you in the dungeon for the last time," that's it. That's 7D. You know what I mean?
And he's the one that said "fuck Lars," by the way.
Right. I know. He's the one that said "fuck Lars," but that's the thing, is we don't think of Lars as an artist anymore, and that's the problem. Is that we start dehumanizing these guys once they make a little bit of the green. You know what I mean? And like, he's looking at it like, well, fuck, I've got to have you buy my album, or else the record company doesn't pay me anymore, and they won't let me go on tour. And if I don't go on tour, because that's where artists still make all their real money.
Yeah, it's merch and shit, right?
The merch and the tour itself, the tour ticket sales. You know what I mean? Because if they sell out a stadium versus selling out a little 300 person theater, like, you know.
Yeah, that's a very realistic, fair perspective.
Fuck Drastin for saying fuck you to another artist.
Love it. Julie's a big fan. She's 21 Pilots. She absolutely loves listening to them through the transition, because we were talking about transitions. I'm just trying to get caught up with the chat. Sound so different, but still sound like them. Britt wants to ask you about your tramp stamp.
Okay, yeah. So I have a tramp stamp.
Okay.
A whole platoon of guys out there in the military have tramp stamps. We had a platoon sergeant that nicknamed everybody after comic book characters that he felt like resonated with them.
Yeah. And yours was?
The Joker, because I laugh at really inappropriate times.
Right.
We actually talked about that with the whole Owen Hart thing. Yeah. Like I don't know what it is, but when something happens that's really, really bad, I start cackling uncontrollably. Like, and so it's really weird because then the Joker came out with Joaquin Phoenix, and everybody was raving about what a good movie that was. That was traumatic for me. Sitting there and watching it in the theater, Erica had to console me when we walked out because like that part on the bus where he's laughing and the kids digging it, but like everybody else that's an adult like is getting super pissed off,
that was his like a response,
off the car,
trauma response. Yeah,
like I connected with that. But yeah, so I have a Heath Ledger Joker pop figure tramp stamp tattoo.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome. There you go. There's the tramp stamp. There is the tramp stamp story. So, let's see. He says it's his personality. He really is an asshole. That's what Draston's using. But that was 25 years ago, Draston. When have you talked to Lars since?
Right.
Well, I do want to pivot in just a couple little stuff, and we're gonna try and I want to steer it back home.
Absolutely.
Right now at this point, of course. So as far as we won't be able to dive into it as deep right now, but I do, and I know it's something that I do want to get into, and we're going to get into more of it down the road anyways, but we've had some really good conversations, so that's perfectly fine, and I don't mind that. But as far as toy collecting, because you're also somebody who's that's one of the things we connected on instantly, like I had said. When you were growing up, I know, clearly you said Masters Universe G.I. Joe, but did you have a specific favorite toy that was like, I love this thing, this is my favorite toy?
Remco released knockoff Masters of the Universe figures, right? Where everybody called them knockoffs, right? They released Conan. So there was a Remco Conan figure.
I remember those.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. I remember them.
And then there was a Demos Wizard guy that was there. And then there was Hercules. And then there was DC Comics Warlord.
Yeah.
Got released by Remco. So I think it would either be like that Remco Conan or that Remco Warlord were the two figures that like I always had with me, because like He-Man was cool, but He-Man was aimed at a child, because Prince is a very soft boy that's going to be the king one day.
Well, it's very like sci-fi and medieval fantasy mixed with a lot of colors and a lot of character pantheon.
Right. And so the thing was like, even though like Conan the Barbarian, that original Arnold Schwarzenegger one was Cull's backstory pretty much, you know what I mean? That's still like that taking that kid and putting him on the wheel of pain, and he just pushes it around.
Yeah.
Pushes it around, and the other kids, like, I don't know if you caught it, because like 80s cinema was not very good at exposition, but like he started on that wheel with like 5 or 6 other people.
Yeah, oh yeah.
As a little kid, and he's pushing it. And then as they keep flashing forward and they're making him a little bigger, a little stronger, right? There's fewer and fewer people, and then he's stepping on skulls and bones as he keeps pushing until it's just him on the wheel. And so there was something about that in my mind that clicked, was like literally like that survival of the fittest thing that they ingrain into us, but like the community too, because like little kid Conan wouldn't push the wheel by himself. Like it took the community to help him last long enough to get strong enough to last on that wheel. And
literally he's doing it on their backs.
Yes. And literally no good Conan story doesn't have sidekick characters, right? But they're fully developed people on their own. And that's the thing, is I might be the main character in my story, and you might be the man at arms to my He-Man, right? But in your story, I'm the man at arms to your He-Man.
Right, yeah, you're the sidekick.
But that's the thing that I've always loved about Conan and about those medieval fantasies is, Beastmaster. He's nothing if he doesn't have his beasts. You know what I mean? Dar, like, he's just a dude that's kind of good with a sword, but you go back and you watch Beastmaster, if it wasn't for those little fucking ferrets, he would have died like 5 or 6 times.
Right.
Without the tiger that they spray painted with black spray paint, he would have died another 3 times, you know. And the hawk freaking keeps him out of trouble by navigating. And so like it's that like fact that every character is not just the character, they're the community around him, that like really put Conan and Warlord in there for me as like my main favorites, was because like, they had these rich stories that had characters that they always surrounded themselves with.
Right on. Love that. You don't still have those anymore, do you, as toys?
No, dude, those Rumcos are long gone.
Okay. Yeah,
along with the Masters. I have none of my childhood toys.
That's unfortunate.
Not a single one. Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Tears.
Yeah. I don't got much left either. Just the TMNT line. So as a collector, you know, and I know you're still buying, and you've got you're the reason I'm getting into Savage Crucible,
right.
And it wasn't just because you were talking it up, because I love medieval and I love fantasy stuff. Clearly, don't have that like line of like the Conan stuff and all the other stuff as you do. You know, I know what it is. I understand a lot of that. You know, Beastmaster, everything.
Right.
I'm familiar with you know, a lot of those sort of things, but when you put that fucking figure in my hand, and those made me touch those, and I felt and looked at the texture and the articulation, and I was like, my, they're crafted art. Like, I mean, a lot of the things that we get into in that sense it is, but you know, you definitely, you know, kind of triggered something for me, I think.
Right.
And it's funny because I'm definitely somebody who's easily to sway into things, I think, in some ways, but I'm also like very like stubborn if I'm like already shutting off. I don't want to spend the money. Don't do this. But because it's not an expensive line to get into, because they do it so infrequently, that you're getting premium figures when you're buying them and stuff like that. Right. So I say all that because I guess for you, like, as somebody who has a lot of figures, and I know you've been doing a lot of different things and you're still buying and collecting or whatever, but do you have a Holy Grail in your collection? Is there
like,
something?
Do I own a Holy Grail, or is there one that's very, very close to me that I want? Like, or
well, yeah. So let's do each. Like, do you own one right now? A Holy Grail? You're like this, or doesn't he have to be like a Holy Grail? I guess maybe just your favorite in your collection that you're like, man, this is it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to sound really, really crazy to you, but it's actually in your house right now as we speak. The McFarlane the McFarlane Monsters playsets that came out in like the late 90s. Like I said, I was starting to get into horror, right? Like my 2 favorite Universal monsters, as you already know, are Frankenstein's creature and the Wolfman, and I have both of those playsets upstairs.
Yes,
and I had to go out and I had to rebuy them. And
you were playing with them earlier.
And I was playing with them earlier because I don't do a whole lot of 4-inch stuff, but that's like what your world is based off of 4-inch. And so, you know, when I brought you 4-inch stuff, I wanted to bring some of my 4-inch stuff just so like
play around.
Play around. Right, exactly.
And some horseplay.
Right. And so and it's really weird because like Holy Grails usually aren't as expensive for me as people might think they are. So I guess like that was a Holy Grail because I needed to have that back in my collection.
Yeah,
because there
I get
was
it.
something about having Frankenstein's creature and Wolfman right next to each other as my favorite Universal monsters. I connect with those 2 characters, and I connect with them for the same reason.
Sure.
Like Frankenstein's creature isn't evil. No. He's not evil, right? He's just a dude that didn't get raised properly.
He's a big Gerber baby.
Right. And that's the thing, is a lot of us that maybe didn't, and like I said, I talk great on my dad, but a lot of people didn't have great dads to help raise them, or great moms, you know what I mean? And so anybody that had an absentee parent or a parent that wasn't good to them can relate to Frankenstein's creature if they have empathy. You know what I mean? And then Wolfman is quite the opposite. Like, you know, he literally becomes cursed to be this thing, and no matter how many times he tries to find ways, like lock me up, put me away, like I don't want to hurt anybody, and he gets laughed at and cackled at as a madman because he knows the monster inside of him, and he's trying to control it the only way he knows how, but no one will give him the assistance he needs. Like, as somebody that like deals with that inner monster sometimes that still lurks from my 20s out there, like I totally identify
Yeah,
with the
okay.
Wolfman because, like, you know, this conversation keeps the monster inside. It
Yeah.
keeps things light. It keeps things airy. And so
Mhm.
those are the ones that I had to go back out and pick up for myself because I've only been collecting again for like 5 years. I
Okay,
stopped
so
for
that
a good long
oh
while.
yeah, so you did stop for
Yeah.
okay. And you're now I know you fooled around with some customs and things like
Mhm.
that too. Is that something that you do frequently, or is that I mean, what does that look like for you as far as customs and doing stuff? Are you painting, moving pieces around?
So I do a little bit of painting. Sometimes I'll buy like a 3D printed head or something
Yeah.
because like I also collect Mythic Legions and they are really great figures. They're not really great characters. They're getting better at the character side of things, but like a lot of things are generic knight helmets that don't even have like lift up visors or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
So it's like, well, if I want, you know, a tone in my army, a general tone
Right.
to lead the Crusaders, the Holy Crusaders, I go out, I buy a 3D printed head and I paint it real quick and I slap it on whatever knight best represents, you know, general tone to
Right,
me. You know
right.
what I mean? But
Yeah.
for me, a lot more of it though has started because of the world building
Yeah,
like
which
thing with like you and Zilla's conversations, like
yeah.
because
And you already kind of going down that route, doing some world building,
yeah, on
which
my
I
own,
didn't.
right,
Yeah, you were
right,
prior to even some of
right,
that. I didn't realize that you
right,
were kind of into that then.
yeah. But like since that whole thing's come up, like I've got a lot of those early Hasbro's, like I said, a lot of those early Hasbro classified figures, and it is not hard to go out and find people that have bought a Black Series Stormtrooper and then just chucked him.
Yeah.
So like I've been doing a lot of like stuff with the classified figures, getting them more spacey so that they can be integrated into my world because my world's very, very medieval.
Yeah.
Like there's only going to be 2 spots in my world where you will see off-worlders, and that is either the library because they are contributing some form of technology or some sort of knowledge that my
Sure.
world doesn't have, right? Or the Colosseum and the market outside of the Colosseum. So then you can either be selling goods from your world on my world,
Mm-hmm.
or you can come try your luck and try to
In
win
the arena.
Yeah, try to win a championship in
There you go.
the arena.
What's
Yeah.
do you have a name for your world?
Not yet. I'm still working.
So you're
on
still
it.
working at that. That's
Yeah.
a tough one.
Yeah.
It took me a minute too.
The biggest thing for me though is like, I'm not worried about the world's name
Sure.
until I'm ready to post like start an Instagram like yours.
Yeah,
you
keep
know what I
telling
mean,
you,
for
got
it,
it.
right?
Yeah, once you get an Instagram, yeah.
Right, but that's the thing is you gotta have the name for it. But like for me, it's more about once again the relationship with the community because like I know medieval fantasy is like, it's like taking ownership of it. Even though I said we need to be inclusive, like medieval fantasy is like my thing. I love it.
Yeah,
And
oh yeah.
so I gave you guys 2 characters, you and Britt, each a character, and they are the first characters to go off world. And so what I'm going to be exporting is I'm going to be exporting weapons manufacturing. And so you now have a character that will be making swords for people, making war hammers for people, and then Britt's character is going to be enchanting them, and then you're going to decide what export it is that made me send those guys to you, and then we're going to open up that trade relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Outpost 93J is still deciding, but I think we're zeroing in on what our export is going to be. We're getting closer. I've got some really good ideas how to integrate those characters in, and even a Star Wars way. I've got some neat stuff that I'm looking to do with that. So, like I said, with Zilla being here tomorrow, I already know, and I think you're thinking it too. Like I'm ready to kind of pick his brain on a couple things too, because I got some thoughts and questions on some
I
stuff.
just hope he
too.
doesn't get mad when he sees the front of my trousers get a little tight when he starts talking about his world.
Right.
Like I see him post on Instagram and it's just like,
yeah, man.
Like, you know what I mean? It was mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's all about like that story. Like I said, I was a writer when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so like the name of the world's not important because like you shouldn't name things until you know what they are. And like I'm still deciding what my world is.
That's fair.
I know it's medieval fantasy, but like I'm taking a lot of Savage Crucible, taking a lot of Four Horsemen stuff, mixing it together because it's in that 6-7 inch scale, right? And I want my export to be like weapons, right? And magic devices as well, like not just weapons, but magic devices, and because magic's going to be something that lacks on your world. From what I've seen, and most of the world makers consortiums, magic's missing. You know what I mean? So guess what? hey, Jeff's here to bring the magic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so export that off, and then maybe I get to learn how to make an astromech, you know, and
There you go.
maybe I figure out how to incorporate kyber crystals into that, or
Which is one of the things I'm thinking like a mineral or something like that. Because, you know, what if like a kyber crystal is embedded into weapons and that's what helps retain that magical
exactly.
ability,
or
so
amplifies it to a whole new level, because like we were talking about with Kylo Ren's lightsaber at the beginning, like there's something really magical about his lightsaber.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think it's about time to go through the final gauntlet of questions that I have for you. But before I do that, the one question I have is, what does your TikTok algorithm tell you about you?
Oh my God. You talked to somebody, didn't you? Yeah. So apparently I am a action figure enthusiast.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a Swiftie.
Yeah.
Okay. I lean left politically,
Uh-huh.
but most importantly, I am a masked lesbian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
TikTok algorithms.
Oh my God. It's crazy. Cause like literally these masked lesbians pop up and I'm like, wow, you just look like a prettier version of me. Great.
There you go.
Thanks.
Great. TikTok algorithms.
Yeah.
I don't even know what TikTok is anymore. Bonfire, welcome. How we doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. I know you're a pro wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm.
We've already talked about it.
Yep.
Right now, and I think I got a good idea who it is, but who is your favorite all-time wrestler? Can you do that?
Wrestler. I want to make sure that I'm understanding. Wrestler is Mick Foley. 1,000%.
Okay.
And I could go into like 5 quick reasons why.
Sure.
Right? Okay.
Sure.
Number 1, like that man dedicated his life to a dream that he wasn't built for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He wasn't going to be a bodybuilder,
Mm-hmm.
which is what certain promoters at the time really, really liked. Most of them really, really liked. But he learned the storytelling in the ring. He learned how to cut some of the best fucking promos I've ever seen. Right? And number 1, he made you care about him because he cared about you. Like, I don't know. One time I got to meet him in person. I know we were already friends at that time. Way too late in life to have met him. But like, I got to look him in the eyes and tell him what he meant to me, because my dream was to be a soldier and I wasn't built for it athletically. But because I watched Mick Foley win his first World Wrestling Federation world title on January 4th, 1999 Raw, and I got to watch my second favorite wrestler ever, Triple H, and the rest of DX lift him up, I knew that any dream was possible if you loved it enough. So, God bless you, Mick Foley. Like that's the man right there.
He is the man. You're goddamn right he is.
Yep.
Goddamn right. Bang bang.
Have a nice day.
That's right. That's right.
Just not Dude Love. Even though that's his favorite.
Yeah, it is his favorite.
His
I love
favorite.
watching the old VHS. They've been like 16 years old doing the Dude Love shit. That's great. That's great. But I think that's somebody out here, baby. Yeah, it's all good stuff. But ECW for life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you realize WWECW is 20 years old now?
Okay, I'm not doing that conversation.
My bad. Sorry.
No. Oh yes, Bonfire Brew. I should have known. Yes, Mike Bearded. I forgot you did rebrand. You are good. Is he the inspiration of the goatee? Yes. Yeah. Who is? Do you have inspiration for the goatee? He did get called Mick Foley, or not Mick Foley. Excuse me, Stone Cold earlier.
So the inspiration for it was I am still, other than the bags under my eyes, a 15-year-old boy when I'm clean shaven.
You're one of those.
I am.
Okay.
And I can tell you are a little bit too. Like,
I look like fucking Uncle Fester.
Right, but you can also drop down into your like early 20s. They're gonna ID you, and I do. I get ID'd, right?
Yeah.
And so I can't do the full beard because of work, right? They don't even really like the goatee. But I don't look good with just a mustache. I look like that dude with the short shorts from Reno 99.
That's great. Yeah, or a guy driving a white van around the neighborhood.
Exactly.
You know?
I wasn't gonna go there, but all right.
Yeah. Stay away from the fucking mustaches, though. That's good.
But yeah, so the necessity of looking good.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Because I don't know if whoever your freaking source was, which I have a pretty good idea of who it was you talked to, but I'm the total package. I don't make
I should call you Lex?
No, that's the thing is Lex, it was just a gimmick, right?
Yeah. But you are the total package.
But I am the total package. And you know why?
Why is that?
Today,
Yeah.
like we talked about earlier, I am the best version of myself that I've ever been today.
There you go.
And so every person can be the total package as long as they wake up the next day a little bit better than they were the day
There
before.
you go.
And if they leave the world a little bit better than they did before.
But that would require some empathy and compassion, and it seems like that's a struggle for people these days.
It is.
Which
Absolutely.
sucks. But that's
Right.
good. That's a good vibe to have.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's your favorite book you ever read?
Oh, Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King.
Okay.
Yeah. I know it's not a popular Stephen King book.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, medieval fantasy, right? And it's the first canonical appearance of Flag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
a big deal.
If you are a fan of The Stand, if you're a fan of the Gunslinger series, right?
Yep.
That's what it's called.
Gunslinger,
Right?
oh, yeah.
Yep. Okay. It's his first canonical appearance. It's medieval and
Gnarly.
it's an amazing story. It's got brotherly love in there. It's got a grown man playing with a dollhouse that belonged to his mother. Like it really, like it's a statement of toxic masculinity versus healthy masculinity, and a statement about personal growth and how as long as you are trying to always grow and you're trying to always be organic, you're always going to come back against somebody that is only out to set you back.
So it's starting to see that it fits into the vibe then.
Right, absolutely.
There you go.
And so, once again, Stephen King's Eyes of the Dragon, read it. It's a great book.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't made a movie of it yet, have they?
No.
No,
Not at all.
No.
I don't think a 17-year-old boy playing with his dead mom's dollhouse would be a good seller, but
That's fair.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised though.
Right.
What's your favorite cereal?
Lucky Charms.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Classic
It
Lucky
changes
Charms.
sometimes, like
Yeah.
I love frosted shredded wheat, right? And then
Big fan too.
right? There's this one, and I don't know if you guys had it out here in the Ohio, Michigan area, right? When we were kids, and it was the Poor Kid cereal because it's the one that you got from the food banks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it had a king, and I think it was called King Crunch. It was like a real knockoff.
Yeah,
of Captain Crunch.
we were poor growing up. I'm familiar with it.
Okay, so you know King Crunch.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
yeah.
like literally, you would eat the bowl of cereal.
Wasn't it kind of flavored like Captain, like original Captain Crunch?
Yes, it was original Captain Crunch without any sweeteners in it.
Yep.
And so like the corn was the only thing that made it anywhere near sweet.
Yeah.
But you would get it. You'd get a bundle of bananas and some fresh fruit.
Yeah, maybe
and so,
cheese.
Right, but I'm
cheese,
saying
whatever.
like
Yeah.
you would go to the food bank and you get the bananas or the strawberries and you cut them up, and that was cereal. So and then once you were done, you got to cut the little mask off the back and you got a free toy.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like it was too cheap of a cereal being
Right.
given away at the food bank to
Right.
have the little cool plastic toys that everybody got, like
Yeah.
the little Captain Crunch
Yep.
figurine.
But you got a
But
mask.
You got a mask.
There you go.
Right? And our imagination's a hell of a thing.
That's probably the best toy you got.
Yeah.
Let's be real. I do eat cereal. Cereal is one of my favorite snacks, but I refuse to buy at this point in my life because I lasted so long to buy like name brand cereals because it's gotten so expensive.
Mhm.
And I love some. Sometimes I'll
Yeah.
pick them up, but I'm way into buying like the bags of Malto meals
Yeah.
for like half the price or whatever for the size I get.
We do that a lot in our house.
Yeah,
too.
but why
I
would-
mean, because what is the difference between
They're-
like frosted shredded wheat and Wheatie?
Yeah,
or Wheatums. Or
yeah, whatever it
they're
is. Yeah, so I always buy
Fruity Pebbles versus Fruity Stones.
Fruity Stones, right?
Like-
yeah. It's all good.
Yeah.
Fuck it. It's all good. Let's see here. Bonfire Bruce said, I mean, a grown ass man playing with his dead mom did well. It's a good point. When you were talking about that's all I was thinking
Yeah.
was Bates shit
Yep,
too.
Yep.
What is a controversial hot take that you will die on the hill with, no matter who's trying to come at you, and you're like, no, I get, and even if it's something you're self-aware too.
Name a fandom. Name a fandom, because I have a lot of weird takes that
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of people
true.
tell me.
I want you.
Okay.
What like it can be anything.
Okay.
Anything like a super controversial hot take.
Okay. If ECW had WCW's money behind them,
Yeah.
and they had their television deal, I don't know that ECW would not be in business today,
Okay.
because I think that all they needed was the financial go ahead and somebody like from some TV company actually
Right.
backing them. Because I remember everybody talks about the night that Mankind won the world title
Mm-hmm.
They spoiled it on WCW. I don't know if you know that or not, right?
I was watching WCW
You were
and
watching
switched
WCW.
over.
So
I think we talked about that.
Yeah,
I flipped over.
I was watching WWE,
Right.
I was watching
Yeah,
WWE. So, like, I flipped over after watching somebody that Vince McMahon would never make world champion win a world title, right? Because by that time, everybody already knew, like, some of Vince's stuff, right? But I flipped over from that to watching Hulk Hogan, who was my beloved childhood hero,
Same.
right? But like by 93, 94, I actually kind of already started knowing who Hulk Hogan was as a person too. Poke Diesel in the chest and win the world title. And then the next day when I go to school and I'm wearing my Cactus Jack t-shirt, right? And I see a guy walking down the hall and he's like, did you flip over when, you know, Mike Tenay or whoever it was said that thing about Mick Foley? And I was like, what are you talking about? And I heard it and I was like, he said that, and they knew, WCW knew that they were going to give us that bad of a screw job finish, right? And so that like really, really like kind of formed my opinion on WCW right there. Like that was the death rattle for me.
I think I was also one of those people.
Yeah. But at the same time, for just a split second, Vince was doing like Saturday night shows, and then there was some channel in Columbus, Ohio that was doing the syndicated watches of ECW, and Paul was running those replay tapes on syndication, right? And Raven was already in the WWF, and so we were the Dudley Boys, but he was doing like this replay of Tommy Dreamer and Raven versus the Dudley Boys. And that fucking match cooked. And that's one thing where WWE has never been consistent. It takes it being two great wrestlers in the ring telling WWE how they're going to tell the story in order for it to be. But Paul like had a way where he could just look Sandman and Raven in the eyes and he go, you hate him because, and you hate him because, now go out there and make the people believe it. And I think he really empowered a lot of wrestlers. I think some of the greatest wrestling minds to come out of the Attitude Era were all ECW guys for the most part, other than like Triple H is a great wrestling mind in my opinion. Mick Foley, Stone Cold, hate giving him his flowers, but The Rock, and then on WCW like Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, they were great wrestling minds. Bret Hart was a great wrestling mind, but like that ECW locker room was just something special. Yeah, and that's why WCW and WWF kept poaching.
Well, and I think a lot of it with ECW that made that so, it was because it's relatable. Right. It looked like guys that would, like you and your friends, we were just sitting around on a couch and be like, hey, you want to go out back and beat each other up? I know I don't want to get into the yard or conversation, but I'm saying it looked like you, like Mikey Whipwreck literally just was sleeping on my couch playing D&D, and he was going to go fucking wrestle out of nowhere.
My dad smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day and always had a Pepsi in his hand, and when he'd get pissed off, he'd crush it against his head. Like
Sandman.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like, just change out the monkey wrench for the Singapore cane, and you had James Bernard Hoven instead of the Sandman.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Okay. That's a good hot take that I agree with.
Yeah.
But I can see in the wrestling community where that might be a conversational hot take. Okay.
Paul Heyman would be every bit as successful as the WWE if he had the money and he had a channel backing him.
It's almost, I know him and Triple H have a great relationship.
Right.
But it's almost, and he probably goes to Paul for a lot of things. I would love to see what a WWE programming would look with Paul Heyman being the puppet master, because it wouldn't,
Shane McMahon's pitch for the original WWE ECW, like all the shit that's come out about how Shane McMahon wanted to handle it with being like an online only stream, mature content, like
that was ahead of its time.
It was really ahead of its time, and Shane had his finger on the pulse. He knew where it was heading, and I think
it's a shame
and Triple H did too. Like Triple H knew where the world was going, but Vince just couldn't let go of that control.
No, and then they had to go public.
Huh.
All right. Last Day on Earth.
Yep.
Tomorrow, massive fucking asteroids coming here, and Bruce Willis didn't save you.
Okay.
Earth's gonna explode.
Ben Affleck saved them. Bruce Willis just kind of died.
That's true. He's the bomb in Phantoms too.
Yep.
He was the bomb in Phantoms. You get to choose 5 meal items. Your
Okay.
last 5 meal items. That can be
Okay.
anything. I don't care what it is.
Okay.
And then 2 drinks.
Okay. So I'm gonna count them out on my hands.
Okay.
So nice steak,
Okay.
right?
Well, okay. What cut?
Doesn't matter.
No. Okay.
As long as you cook it right.
Sure. And how do you like it cooked?
I like to sear and then finish in the oven.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Okay. Oh,
Yep.
okay. Fancy
Yep.
boy.
Garlic butter.
Yeah,
Right?
okay.
Okay.
No utensils.
Baked potato. No,
Baked
no,
potato.
no utensils for this either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Asparagus.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Then I want a really good local fucking pizza. I don't know what it is, but like, there's nothing wrong with a Papa John's or a Pizza Hut, but
Sure.
there's something about that mom
I
and
agree.
pop's pizza joint where you are not getting the same thing in Chicago that you're getting
Yeah.
in New York.
Yeah.
Right? That
Yep.
mom and pop pizza joint, right? And then the greatest dessert of all time, Reese's peanut butter cups.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I respect it. That's a big one for me
Yep.
too.
And then for my drinks, I want a Coca-Cola,
It's a regular Coca-Cola.
regular old Coca-Cola.
Can,
right?
fountain, anywhere specific, like your favorite type.
I prefer either canned or bottled real Coke. I don't like restaurant Cokes.
Okay.
Even McDonald's, which I know
a lot of us love that.
right, a lot of
fountain.
people-
Jimmy John's or
like,
McDonald's.
I know people like my ex-wife is one that she will go to McDonald's just to get a McDonald's.
Yes, people
Coke.
do. Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
She will go order a whole ass meal from Chipotle
yeah.
and say no drink, and then drive over
Yeah.
to McDonald's for a
It's
McDonald's.
the way they
But-
clean their. It's their water and their filtration, anyways.
Okay, is that really it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so
Might even be the carbonation,
yeah.
but I digress.
you know what? For nostalgia's sake, and since I get to say it,
Yeah.
glass bottle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Glass bottle.
Glass bottle of ice cold Coke,
Okay.
and then an old fashioned.
An old fashioned.
And
Hell
I'm
yeah.
gonna- and I'm gonna eat those last 2 Reese's, and I'm gonna
Okay.
pound that right,
Okay.
and then we'll wrap my arms around whoever it is that I love, and I'm just gonna watch the asteroid come in and wash
There you
over
go.
us like heavenly rain.
There you go.
Yep.
Good answers. Good stuff. Good, good, good. Awesome. Well, I've heard you have a mantra, and you've talked about vibes a lot tonight, which
Okay.
I learned some stuff. That's why this is fun to me. I know
Okay.
we got long in the tooth on some of this stuff, but it's
Yeah.
important because it's good conversation. But apparently you will try anything twice, but the first time is going to be weird.
Yeah.
How did you come to that revelation, and what constitutes as weird?
Okay, so God, there's been so many examples in my life, and they rate all the way from G all the way up to like X-rated,
Yeah.
right? And so I love our fans out there, and I know that Banner and Babble and 7D's fan base can get a little crazy, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But obviously, being genderqueer
Yeah.
and being like sexually queer, like there's that side of it, right? But eating bugs. Human beings have been doing it for literally our entire existence since we were still apes, if you believe that, right?
Sure.
Right? But people will not eat bugs now. Americans won't eat bugs, right? Okay, and if they do, it's novelty. And the only place
It
to
is.
buy bugs to eat is either you go to the pet store and you prepare them yourselves, or you go to a store that sells them as a novelty snack and they're nacho cheese flavored and you pop them in your mouth, right? Okay. So, of course, the first time that you get a little cricket piece stuck in between your teeth and your gums, it's going to feel weird, right?
Mhm.
But the second time when you realize that, like, that is one of the purest forms of protein that you can eat,
Mhm.
and it's environmentally friendly and it's environmentally conscious to eat bugs, it won't feel weird anymore. And you'll realize that, oh man, by replacing one steak a week with one serving of bugs, you're literally like saving one entire cow's life a year. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's weird shit like that,
Okay.
Well, no, seriously.
And that's
Yeah.
no, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
No.
Another good example, right?
Mhm.
What is one band that the first time you heard their first song, you were like, man, this is fucking weird? Because me, Bloodhound Gang.
Yeah, I got
The
one.
first time I fucking heard a Bloodhound Gang song, it was Bad Touch.
Mhm.
And that was like, what, their second or third album, right?
I think second.
Right. And I'm like, God, this is really weird. My friend's like, wait, it'll grow on you. It's just like
Oh, it's
that
an
Weird
incredible
Al
song.
album that you like, right? And you
Yeah.
sit there and you listen to it and you're like, yeah, you and me, baby, we ain't nothing but mammals. You know
Right.
what I mean? And so, like,
Right.
you listen to it a couple times. First time it's weird.
Yeah.
Second time, okay, I like this.
Yeah,
you
we
know?
want to watch X-Files.
Right.
You know?
But then on the flip side of that, mint chocolate chip ice cream. I tried it once. It was weird. Didn't like it, right? But it was the first time trying it. Second time I tried it, it's not weird anymore. But guess what? I will not eat mint chocolate chip ice cream. That shit will die in my freezer.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I will buy it and just throw it away for be funny. Like Thin Mints.
Right.
I just want to buy them and just throw them away just to make a statement.
Right.
You eat your toothpaste?
No.
No, nobody eats
But
their
I've tried
fucking...
it twice.
Right. It was weird the first time I hear. Fucking A. Would you stop? Oh, bonfire. Would you swap your last steak for bugs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Like,
How often a week do you go buy bugs to eat?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. And the reason for that being is because, like, A, it's not socially acceptable.
Sure.
Right. And B, like, it's really super expensive because we don't organically raise them ourselves. Like, if I had the land to raise crickets, I absolutely would.
Okay.
And I would eat them for a snack like popcorn.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Well, hey, I appreciate becoming friends with you. This was a great conversation. I know we went a little bit longer than I normally do, but some of these go long.
Did we really?
We're about 2 hours and 37 minutes right now.
Holy shit.
And that sometimes this happens, and that's perfectly fine. And you know, I don't always know that when I bring somebody on, especially for a Q&A, where it's gonna go, even though I've got stuff loaded, you know. And sometimes if it's a good piece, like, you know, sometimes I can divert. Sometimes it depends on where the conversation goes. I don't always want to do that because the best ice cream without fudge. No. But you know, it's just that's kind of how I want this to flow. I don't want to. I'm always worried about time, and then I'm like, it doesn't. To me, then at the end of the day, like then you're possibly missing out on good stuff too. Right. So
if you're doing a review or you're doing something like that, like I get like staying on that time constraint. 70. It's very important. Like there's maybe a half hour, 45-minute window there where we can cut out and it's reasonable for our viewers, right? But like we said the first time you asked me if I was nervous, I was like, no, this is just two friends talking. You know what I mean? Yeah,
and so like I don't mind that it did, clearly, and honestly, I was using this, and I use this, and a little secret, but even though it's a Q&A, there's a lot of things that I put in these Q&As because it's stuff that I don't know, because I want to know, because it helps me get better to know people as well. But now after people come into the hot seat for the first time, then we can talk about, let's talk about other contents that we can conversate, because I want people to get to know people first or whatever, and I digress. But point is, I enjoy that we share some interests. You know, clearly that's a big, for me, it's a foundation and nerddoms of friendship. But it's been great to get to know you and both Erica with a K as well. And I feel like between the four of us here in the home, we all just vibe so well, and that's not always easy either. By the way,
no,
it's not. And we don't have a lot. Like, there's a couple of couples I can think of that might be around. I know one in particular, but you know, they're always busy too. We're always trying to want to do stuff. There's other people want to do stuff with, but it's nice to be able to vibe as a couple of couples one time, you know, at times too. So I definitely appreciate that. But you know, I know we're talking about doing some periodic content together sometime, like crossing some 7Dungeons and B&B stuff, which we always want to do. But my stuff as well too, for like the hobbyist stuff, is going to be, you know, also a little bit more targeted specifically. So I'm looking forward to do that, hatching some of that out here in the future. So, you know, you definitely be more involved with these and when we can. But I appreciate you coming on here and chatting. I appreciate you guys coming up and hanging out this last couple of days. It's already been fun, and we still got another day to be able to do this too. So
So let me ask you real quick, hot seat question for you.
Okay.
How many guests have you had on Let's Set the Tone so far?
You are technically the 19th.
The 19th.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. That's weird, because I feel like I've only seen like 9 people or 7 people on. So
so it's true. Because there's been 2 people. I think half-ass has probably been 3.
Okay.
Rohit's been probably 2 for like these conversations. So, but it's been mostly, I'd say 80% of it has been hot seat stuff.
Okay.
And then Let's Set the Tone is always ready for like roundtable discussions now that I got Evie Mux and can do like the remote stuff as well too.
Dude, I'm super excited for those, because man, I can't wait to trash people for their hot take opinions.
Yeah, well, you've got some today too. I've had to hear too. So AVP,
oh my gosh.
fucking AVP. But that's going to do it for this episode with Jeff, episode 19 of Let's Set the Tone. If you had to come back and listen to this after taking a break, that's perfectly fine. I always say, you know, I listen to everything, all my content at 1.5. Sometimes it's my brain works like that. You know, put it on a little bit faster, put it in the background. But do me please a favor, like, subscribe, comment if you get some time. We love that sort of stuff. You know, right now with us, Banter and Babble, I have been super busy with external things, and work's been really busy. So work's been taking up extra time. And then I've been working outside doing landscaping, building a fire pit, all that sort of shit. I just haven't had time. I'm going to put pictures and stuff and videos up later, and then get back to world building and, you know, action figure photography, all that fun stuff here real soon. So just hang in there. I just honestly have not had the time. So, and dude's busy right now with his kids and sports stuff. So it's just been tough. Summertime in Michigan, when you've only got 3 months to enjoy, you try to pack it all in as much as you possibly can. But make sure to check out Jeff, Justinian, and 7Dungeons crew every Monday. I almost said Friday. Every Monday, 7 p.m. live on Twitch and YouTube. Get in there, listen to Shadow Spark Chronicles, spinning that yarn that Drastin's doing, and getting to know the characters. It's great stuff. If you like RPN, if you like anything in that form, you honestly got to check it out. Half-Ass Beer Review. That guy is busy right now as well, too. He's not been putting out a ton of content. We've got some things coming we're hopefully going to be able to work on here soon, because we do have the Great Lakes Beer Fest coming up August 16th. Check out one of the last videos we did. We did a little fun promo video in Midland at the Dow Diamond for that event. We got some more stuff coming down the road with that, but definitely make sure to watch when we're streaming live there, and I'll keep talking about it all the time. August 16th at the Dow Diamond. He will be there as well. Half-Ass will be recording and doing some other stuff with us there too. So, and also, of course, make sure to check out Truth Beer Consequences. They got a new episode drop every Friday. I listen on YouTube because it's easy on my PC to be able to do that. I'm sure I should probably be doing it elsewhere for Julia and Marco, but one of these days I'll figure out something that they probably rather me listen to it on. But make sure to check them out. It's a good time. You know, they're talking about all the local Cincinnati craft beer and the events and things, and it's a great listen to kick off my Friday for the weekend for sure. And then of course, make sure to check out the Grown Ass Men Toys. They've got their streams, constantly putting out content. Comrade's now doing his own content right now too. You got to check all those folks out. They've been really supportive of the things I do. They're really fun. On Thursdays, you can catch Zilla on there with a Collector's Corner. It's pretty amazing. Like I said, make sure to give them a follow. I'll have all these links in there. World Makers Consortium, Rad, Famine, Fat Rad Foo, Outer Universe, Zilla, of course. Appreciate you guys for letting me be involved in the things that I get to do with y'all. Sounds like we might be on a Grown Ass Men Toys stream next Thursday, so make sure to tune in for that. Excited to kind of see these two folks of two communities that I value and love so much in the toy community world, both of them, World Makers and toy photography and customizers. It's all this stuff coming together. It's really pretty awesome, and I'm really excited for it. So make sure to check all that. Check out Zilla's content. It's a lot of stuff. I just want to make sure I get some shout outs because it's been a while since I've actually been able to stream for a lot of people that I enjoy and that have also been supportive of me too. So, no, I appreciate everybody so much. So, with that being said, long-winded as always when it comes to an outro, thank you for coming and hanging out with us and having a conversation. I'm going to crack open another one of these awesome nooners and try to really catch a buzz now at this time. So, you all have a fantastic weekend, or whatever it is, and hopefully I will get to see you really, really soon. Take care.
And as always, we'll see you in the dungeon.
Perfect. Bye.
Bye.